Hello and welcome to episode 3 of The Infinite, a different kind of life. I'm joined by 80% of the fantastic cast of this show. We have Andrew, Charlie, Chris, and Kristen here. Madi is otherwise disposed this week. Otherwise occupied, I think, is a better way than saying otherwise disposed. I don't really think about it in advance. I plan these intros a lot, in case that's not clear. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, Kristen.
That's 50%. You've locked in that will always happen. To recap, last session, the crew was floating in space. No fuel, no ability to faster than light travel. Outside of what the Empire considers to be the galactic sector in which it lies, in between this and the next galaxy. The crew started off meeting their captain, and not at all intimidating and enigmatic black squid in a orb. Then moved on to trying to find some fuel options. There was some talk of cannibalizing parts of the ship to power the faster than light, but eventually, the IDS Variance, an Imperial Discovery ship, appeared in the sector, and with Lucira's connections, you were offered fuel in exchange for a little bit of work for Lucira and maybe some paid work for you, although it is clear to all of you that the fuel will happen regardless of whether or not you take on whatever they are offering, and they are offering you cold, hard credits. Well, maybe. You'll have to talk to them about what they're actually offering you.
The satisfaction of a job well done.
Yeah, you get a pin that's like, I helped the Empire and I lived. It's not really the kind of empire that the Vaishian Empire is, but that would be very funny. But this episode opens, our camera panning up through this really kind of worn, grungy metal area. It looks like there's a couple of maintenance walkways. The whir of machinery and the humming of pistons, but pistons that have like older oil on them, so there's like a click to it. There's a lot more mechanical, like metal on metal sounds than you would hope in this kind of situation. And we see the Livosphere on Alix 3. Little small Elixian, for lack of a better word. A little small Elixian is brushing their hands off, having just tightened a couple of bolts on this huge life support system. The life support system dwarfs them 10 times, 20 times. This is one of the major life support systems for the entirety of this Livosphere, which is, of course, a giant bubble in which you are. There is an artificial atmosphere, and oxygen and life support systems will work when the surface of the planet becomes unlivable for reasons. The camera pans up, and we see little Nyx, tiny little 10-year-old Nyx, as she begins to trot off, her job done. You've got like a little soldering iron that you had, and you'd been doing like full welding at 10 to just like clear up a little bit. You were told to tighten a couple of bolts and oil a piston, and you're like, but that could use rewelding. Camera follows Nyx almost silently through this. There's like a lot of ambient sound and stuff, but we're just following a relatively cheerful little girl until a voice breaks out of it, and the voice just says, mine are Nyx. And it pans, and there's another Alixian, bright green, with the frill that Nyx always like has that's a little bit subdued. His is like popped like a collar almost, which is a slight. It's like a slight genetic shift, where in the past they would have been like the more dominant hunters of your species, but now it's just like their shoulder bones are like slightly more pronounced, so that the frill is always up. He's like maybe 10, maybe 11. He's a little bit taller than you. He said, "Mine and Nick's stuck here forever. Gonna die in a bubble."
Uh, as he interrupts, Nyx is quiet, muttering to herself of, all right, Sector C, 55. Behind that tube is an effluent pipe. As she like recites to herself the layout of this place that she is learning to do maintenance on, she looks up. I mean, eventually I'll die in the bubble, because, or maybe on the planet, but eventually I'll die. That's what everything does, right?
Nah,
It's
smart
Nyx
people
Minor,
leave.
by the way. Nyx Minor.
Nah. Some people leave. We're leaving. And he like points, and you can see in the background like his family. It's just his two parents. They have like huge metal crates of all of their stuff, but also like duffel bag type things where they're like leaving. And this has slowed down a bit. Like people leaving hasn't happened so much since you've been like more able to travel around, but it still leaves. And you don't even really know this kid that well, but you're like a minor celebrity because your dad's a major celebrity. So he's like, "You just got stuck here because your dad's stuck here. You can't do anything anywhere else."
My dad isn't stuck here. My dad chose to be here because he says that we have to make the world that we want to live in, and this, she like really rapidly gesticulates all around her, and like where the audience would remember that when she moves, she tends to like twitch and jitter a bit. Um, Child Nyx is just as much in motion, just as constantly, never stops moving, but it's very fluid. And she goes, this is the world that we're going to build around us. Um, and and if you are going to leave, then that just kind of makes you a quitter.
My dad says, even though captains are meant to go down with their ship, good captains don't let their ships go down.
Nyx just like stops, and she's got her soldering iron, and she just kind of brings it closer to her and clutches it tightly, and she goes, um, the chief isn't going to let our ship go down. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. Now, if you could get out of the way, I have a very important job to do, and I have to finish it. It's not done until the documentation is over.
You're like two kids standing in quite a large walkway. You could just go past, and he looks around. He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna leave anyway. We're going to the Empire. I'm gonna be an Imperial citizen, and you're gonna be stuck here, dying in a bubble, because your dad's dumb." And he like gives you like this little snot-nosed like grin, like he thinks that's smart, and then he like trots back towards his parents.
Oh, I think Nyx like starts after him with like her soldering iron held in one hand and the wrench that she was using to tighten the spanner coming off of her belt in the other hand, and she starts to shout. And so there's this awkward moment where she really loudly says, "My," and then she just kind of slows and says, "Dad isn't dumb."
He's too far away to hear that, but your kind of movement has drawn the attention of maybe both of his parents, but certainly his mum looks at you and she gives you like a little wave.
Nyx just like stares at them, and at this point her ruff has like just kind of lifted up a little bit, and her skin has gone very, very vivid blue. And she just turns around and walks the other way. If I take D44 to over back to B, I don't have to pass them. I'll just pass through the Jeffries tube on that way. And she's just back to talking to herself as she like walks through.
The like extra 90 seconds it takes you to like pass through, added to the fact that you did additional soldering that you were not requested to do by the chief engineer of the Livosphere, means that as soon as you walk through the door, another Alexian, this one, very tall, like as rangy as Nyx is, even rangier, and with a like deep, dark navy blue skin to them. Their modeling is less pronounced, but it models to a completely different color where they have a bright yellow almost occasionally. And she kind of stands up and says, Solam, where have you been?
Nyx kind of like skitters to a stop and brings up her shoulders, puts the wrench back on her waist because she'd been holding it angrily this whole time, and says, I completed the task, Chief. Both bolts are soldered. Well, not that the bolts are soldered. The bolts are wound tight, but there was a bit that needed a reattachment. So I fixed that too. And nothing else of note happened or needs repair, Chief.
Do you make eye contact with your mother in this moment?
I think Nyx never made eye contact with the little boy, but at this point with her, with her mother, at the very last moment of her explanation when she calls her chief, she meets her gaze very solidly and then is back and looking over like at the light fixture behind her head.
We get the camera spin from watching Nyx give this report to Chief, and where the eye contact is, there's like I'm like, you did a good job, Solan. And then as you break eye contact, we see like her body kind of slouch a little bit, like as she has a reaction to you calling her chief instead of anything even remotely familial. But the camera pans back to Nyx as she says, I cannot help but notice that you're a little bit bright blue.
Nyx like looks down at herself and at her hands because the color usually stretches to her hands and she can yes, that is a correct observation, Chief. There's nothing wrong with the repair.
Oh no, I absolutely trust that you have repaired everything to a quality that I would find acceptable.
At that,
I
finds acceptable, she just glows, like her ruff kind of settles down, and she grins, like teeth very sharp.
I can call your father if you would like and find where he is. If you would like to go visit.
Well, is there nothing else for me to do here?
Oh, there's always something. One of the lights went out in Sector E.
Can I fix the light and then I'll go see Dad?
She thinks about it as having made an offer that she thought would help you feel better, and you've chosen to work. She's like, there's an internal monologue of how sometimes she is your daughter. You are her daughter. And she said, I'll come with you to fix the light. It's one of the older installations. And she like walks over, and there's a moment that Nyx probably doesn't see where she like reaches out to maybe take Nyx's hand, but instead like puts her hand like on Nyx's shoulder for a little moment to kind of just steer Nyx out the door and says, well, you know the station very well. You can lead me to Sector E. And she gives you like a very specific, the equivalent of like a cross street, but for this Livosphere. As we see the pair of you walking, you hear your mum get these different calls from different other mechanics, the people that are actually paid to do this work that you are doing. And there's like every day there's 100 spot fires in this Livosphere. That your infrastructure was not designed to live in a gravitational free bubble that has an anti-grav thing in it. That's not how your city was built. things have happened that have led it to here. And you just see Nyx feels like everything that you said to that boy about not giving up is embodied in Sarah's view of keeping a thing going that maybe isn't meant to keep going. And you hear the occasional thing of like, no, we can't leave to go to the Empire. The Empire will just use us for our skills, and they will never pay us properly. And we will not have a home. This is our home. Even though most of us have left, this is the home that we have. And you get to this light fitting, and she pulls out like a little. It's just a square cube, and she like presses a button on her smart slab, and the spare cube like elevates to a 10-foot high disc. And then she like lifts you up onto the disc to get you closer to the light fixture. And she doesn't even watch you do it. But as we pull away from your hands, like unscrewing the light fixture and trying to do some stuff with that, we pull back out to the same hands, this time turning over just a little bit of metal as we find the four of you now in the office of Elowin, who has been communicating with Valis this whole time, but has explained that essentially one of the minor engines of the ship has an issue. They've sent robot maintenance down there. They don't have a lot of want to do this with like living people because they have their population is one of their resources on this trip. Like they can't expend a resource when they could send a robot to do it. But those robots have been lost and are not coming back anymore. But you're looking at a hologram of this machine, and it's almost identical to the like engines that you, not engines, but like generators that you would have in the Livosphere. As Elowin says, to only Valis, because she has single-person telepathy. Yeah, so basically we just need someone to go check it, and it's better if we don't send our soldiers for obvious reasons. And you're here, and you might want credits, and we have we have some credits to give. We don't have a lot of credits because how much do you know about discovery ships?
I know some about discovery ships, not a lot.
Well, basically, we don't do a lot of trade in credits because it's all an internal economy.
Right.
So we could pay you some credits, but we could also pay you essentially the equivalent of gift certificates to spend on the ship before you leave. Somewhere in the realm of, she kind of looks down to something. It looks to be like a ledger that she has of like, you're pretty good at like noticing stuff through just ambiently being in a area with it. What's your perception like? Just how many ranks in perception do you have is what I'm trying to ask.
I think just the one still. Better trying to open my character sheet. 1. I have a 5 total because my wisdom's high.
Then Kid notices because Kid is a bureaucratic perception machine compared to Valis. You notice that she's looking down at what is essentially like her yearly budget, and you see, make me a perception check, but you kind of get an idea of where she's at without, irrespective of what the roll is, you'll get a little bit of an idea.
First dice roll. Woo.
Yeah. Conifer, you're looking at pictures of the
No
droids.
pressure.
I will explain for them. I'll
Natural
explain them
one,
after.
baby. Oh, 17.
You get a very brief look at it. She knows exactly where to look, so it's like open and closed pretty quickly. Your understanding is that like they have a yearly operating budget of like maybe 20,000 credits total, because most of their pay is like in ship currency. But she says, it's 4 of you. I can pay you 1,000 credits each just for an understanding of what is happening down there. And I will double it if you can fix the engines.
Sorry, that's in real credits?
Yes, and then I'll give you the same amount in... she kind of thinks about it, goes, I'll give you ship credits to the equivalent of 20,000 normal credits. Because really, none of that matters to me. Again, Valis is the only one that can hear anything she says, so everything has to go through the intermediary of Valis, back and forward.
Alright, so 1K to understand the issue. 2K to fix the engines.
2K each.
2K each, right. 20K for the
I see.
group
Valis-
in ship script.
Yeah.
Is Valis saying this part out loud?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then Nyx looks up sharply at engines and then looks back at the schematic that she was looking at. Captain, I can probably help with that, Captain.
Okay.
Also, Elowin says engines. What you're looking at, the schematic, is definitely a life support system.
Yeah,
it's a generator for a life support system. It's not an engine.
Yeah, no, like whenever that's said, like Nyx isn't even gonna ask. Like she sees what's actually been handed to her, and she's 100% used to this kind of bureaucratic nonsense.
And they're giving us fuel like pro bono, right? For Lucira helping.
Yeah, for what Lucira is doing, which is probably Kid definitely understands the thing that is a much higher paid thing. Like dealing with bureaucracy is an expensive undertaking.
Kind of look at the group. Those terms sound acceptable to me.
Wasn't it mentioned that they had a hostile encounter with something last time?
Yes, that's correct.
The captain, he thinks anything's a hostile encounter. He thinks the robot's not coming back is a hostile encounter. But we had jumped out of a sector where there had been a some kind of cloud-like mass that we had flown through. I'm not really across what it was, but there were some interruptions with our electricals and things like that as we flew through it. But we didn't seem to notice anything major until we were already in faster than light travel.
The schematic they have pulled up, is it just specifically this one location, or is it like the level that this is on?
No, so the schematics are probably evident enough to all of you without having any real understanding of ship makeup. But the way that these ships have their maintenance areas is that everything is in a closed sector. So if something happened to this that was catastrophic, it is in its own space where it would have to be a bigger explosion than this generator would normally cause to damage anything else. And she will have told Valis over the course of this that it is the only one that they haven't been able to confirm, and they're getting readings of irregular patterns of energy output from it.
What are the ways that we have to look
at? Conifer, you're kind of half listening, but mainly looking at so there's the big schematics of the whole ship, but then there's a hologram of the engine that Nyx is looking at, and then there's a hologram of the robots. They're about 3 foot tall. They've got one little. They've got a really big torso and small legs, but they've got almost an animalistic head, where it's a really flat head and then 2 little pointy circular ears. And they've got very bright eyes, and there's a kindness to their eyes that maybe only Conifer really notes, but it's designed. The eye shape is designed to feel kind to a human, and I think Conifer just takes that as, well, they are kind.
Conifer has out their vine, which they've named Fidget for themselves, and is like nervously playing with it, and like without any malice in this question, if they're able to sense that there's a lull in like the actual like conversation mentally that Valis and our now employer is having.
You can probably
will allow-
feel a lull with your understanding. You just like find a moment.
Mhm. Were they disposable too?
Valis, you hear like a little, quite a melodic and pleasant laugh in your head, and the voice is, you can tell your robot friend that they are less expendable than we consider you to be. But if the situation's under control, they can be repaired.
I will translate that as in the following. No, Conifer, they were not expendable, which is why we're getting paid to go down there and do this.
Can I tell that is a lie that was just told to me?
I'll make a roll.
You can roll understanding, and Valis, you can roll whichever charisma skill you like, because I don't think that it's as clear cut as that was a lie. But if deception is your best, you can roll whatever you want.
I think I'll roll deception with wisdom because I'm like trying to.
Yeah. Yes.
You know.
You're trying to soften a blow for Conifer, where Conifer might have just accepted what Elwyn had said anyway. Ooh. That's 1 point higher than if you'd just chosen to reliably take it.
30-20.
Yeah. So basically, you both like you have a moment where Conifer's like you're like trying to understand Valis, and it's obviously there's a translation happening, like because that's a Valis thing to say, and you've spent 5 days kind of understanding the way that Valis speaks. That is a Valis phrasing of stuff, but you don't sense an enormous like covering up of. She just said, "Oh yeah, I hate robots." Like she's not like, "Yeah, robots don't mean anything to us. They're basically the same as trash cans." You think that the thing that you're picking up on is just his translation rather than a core deviation from what she said.
Okay. Thank you. I hope we're able to get them back. Because they can help you guys later.
She nods at you and then says to Valis, yeah, I said that right. And then like she shakes her head off and says, but you also have free reign of the ship if you would like to simply exist. That is also fine. But we would like that. She does gesture in reality, so you're like in your head hearing this, and she's like shrugging.
Well, I look at everybody else and I say, I'm game for this. I kind of don't want to just sit here and 20,000 credits, even if it's just in ship script, doesn't sound too bad.
Money's good.
Help.
Nyx looks up from the schematics again. Is this a vote? Are we voting, Captain? Because I'm in.
Okay, everybody's in. It's not really a vote. More like if you don't want to do this, you don't have to come. I'm going no matter what because I need the money.
Can you fix the? And she like pauses and looks at the other person like a little. Were you trying to test us? But can you fix the engines?
No, but I get paid even if the engines aren't fixed. Once I figure out what's going on.
So, Vice Captain Valis, with all due respect, I think this is a vote, because if it's only you, you can't get it done.
That's where you're wrong, Conifer. I can very much understand the situation on my own. I imagine we're going to be dealing with some kind of alien entity things just don't go wrong on their own.
This is real cool and all. Didn't we already say yes?
Yeah, I don't know why we're still talking about this. Nix, let's go. You're the one I really need.
Oh, did I have a question, by the way? On that schematic, what is necessarily the way that we get into there?
As Elowin's starting to do the complicated give directions to Valis that Valis then will tell everybody else. Nix knows 100% from these schematics how to get there. It's like Nix's jam to be in maintenance tunnels. So if you would like, you can speak up before Valis gets all of the information.
I think Nyx does, but it's to ask. Does your ship keep proper documentation? Is this all accurate to this very moment? And she taps it.
Okay, Valis, you get in your head. You go to sector 136 in the maintenance area. There's an elevator that goes to the maintenance area, and then you follow hallway A all the way down to the end. There will be 3 ladders. You go down ladder E, and then at the base of that, there'll be 4 more ladders, and you go down ladder X. Then you follow hallway F2, and this goes on for ages, like a really long time. And then at the end of it, you get, and the schematics are accurate to when we left, which was around 200 days ago, give or take.
I try to just at some point repeat it word for word as it's coming in and assume that somebody else will keep track of that information.
Through the drivel of Valis doing the drunk speech where you're almost hearing yourself verbatim in your own ear but trying to speak, which I'm assuming is what's happening. The kid will 100% just look over to whoever is next to them. I just wanted to know generally if there was a tunnel or something.
Well, you got the general gist that there's some hallways and some ladders. It's an elevator, then some hallways, some ladders, some hallways, some ladders, some hallways. A big pit that you have to circle around. It does have a railing. And then some more ladders.
Yes, I think it is possible to get to this engine.
This is pretty normal, Nix, for maintenance areas. The ships are designed to make it easy for passengers and normal crew to get around, and hard for maintenance staff to do their job. Because somebody has to suffer, and the maintenance staff complain anyway. So
my main lead into this question was mainly just to ask, is this the only entrance into this place, or is there multiple pathways that lead into this one area?
Valis gets to answer that question. There is a ladder downwards. At the top of that ladder, there is a remotely controlled bomb door in case there's a catastrophic malfunction in the area. It is currently sealed. I will give you the codes to open it manually. But it is the only entrance, as is the nature of the maintenance complex of this ship. The code is 0001.
Good choice. Yeah, if they don't have any kind of other information, I think Valis is good here.
Are there any other redundancies for this system in particular? How many redundancies are there for the sector that this supports? Drives.
She audibly sighs, and even her sigh has got this wheezy whine quality to the top end of its register. And she goes over to an enormous wall of binders, and she looks and she finds the code for the one that she has been talking about, and it is incorrectly filed under engines. And she opens it up, and she says, to Valis, for the ship to operate, we need 2 of these. We have 12. But we can never get another.
I will relay that.
Okay. And was Nyx able to see the misfiling?
Yep.
Yeah. Nyx is going to, on their way, like, as once it's clear that they're going to get to leave, is going to say, and that's misfiled. You should put it over 4 places on the left on the opposite shelf, right underneath your essential life support systems. The documentation's good. It's just not located correctly, and that's going to cause you problems in the future if somebody beyond you is working in this area.
She looks at it, and she's like, "What?" Now that you're closer to her to speak to her, she's got like there's little stickers on the edge, and this sticker has a sticker of an engine, and she looks at it, and she like looks to where all of the other things are, and those stickers are all like either trees or lightning bolts. And she puts it where you said, and then you see her like wander off to go find a new sticker. She uses that as a filing system for quick access to where things go, and somebody has at some point screwed that up. Also, you've learned during this interaction that she's like the military commander for this ship. Like, this is not the room that she would normally be doing this in. She just has a workable knowledge of it to give you the job. Somebody else is probably in charge of this, and that person is probably going to get in trouble for making her look kind of dumb.
I imagine in this like lull of this nonverbal communication, which because the whole telepathic speaking, after this is done, about like 10 seconds into the silence, you just hear a kid like snort once.
Very funny. I really like that. You head out. The lower deck military office kind of has some level of adjacency to where the maintenance stuff is anyway. The like nearest elevator is the one that you will take. Do you have anything you need to go back to your ship to pick up?
I feel like Valis has all of his shit for this anyways, so.
Nyx probably didn't carry a full toolbox, but she has her multi-tool. Maybe we can just snag tools on the way in because she would probably be able to figure out lockers.
They will provide you tools if you mention it to Elowen.
Yeah, then no ship. Just head in.
Weird question. So I know they use these like ship coupons here, but would 300 credits be enough for Kid to buy some type of like, not like massive, but like a kinda-ish large battery? If that's available on the ship.
To power what kind of thing?
Like a car battery. Like of equivalency.
I think you probably could. It's how long you're willing to go looking for one on this ship. Because you don't like your immediate you have to leave this area firstly, but your like immediate instinct is that they probably don't have a place to buy large car batteries as just part of them all. Because nobody has a personal kind of device. But you might be able to find one either in maintenance just naturally, or if you want to go talk to the maintenance staff, they might have a spare enough one.
That's it. What's the whole like? There's 12 of these things discussed amongst the group, or is like relayed to the group?
I assume it is because it was a question that Nyx asked that Valis got the answer to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kid just kind of assumes with that there's not necessarily like a super hard time crunch timeline.
Yeah, no, you certainly have time to do it. It's whether or not Valis wants to wait the time that it takes you to go find a car battery. The answer to your question is yes, 300 credits is enough for a car battery.
Okay. Hey, Cap'n.
Yeah. What's up, kiddo?
Mind if I go run off and go buy something real quick?
I kind of glance back. Yeah, you know, I kind of look at the other two. Why don't we go get lunch while Kid does this? I
Yeah,
like
as soon as I
don't like to
heard-
fight on an empty stomach.
As soon as I heard, yeah, kid just leaves. Doesn't stick around.
I like turned to them and I turned back to where kid was like, oh, okay then.
And little did we know, we forgot to exchange smart slab codes.
Oh no, there's the group chat. There's the group chat, remember, from Lucira.
And we keep getting pinged on.
Yeah. You all know each other. You all get like CC'd into stuff. Valis gets blind CC'd into everything that like he's full CC'd in by Lucira. So you're gonna go get lunch basically and find a car battery.
Yep.
I don't have any of my notes available for this, so look at the skill list quickly. Make me a bureaucracy roll to see how quickly you find that you have to go buy one from me.
And Kid didn't say that that they needed a battery. They just said they needed to go do something, right?
Correct.
To go buy some
Okay. Yeah.
By the time that you have found a restaurant, I think it is clear to Kid that nobody is selling you like a battery of that power. It's like extrapolative power, right? Because like the equivalent of a AA battery now is enough to like power a smartphone for a smart slab for like a few days.
Mhm.
So like the extrapolative power difference, you probably won't be able to find here. But you could always go talk to maintenance, and it's kind of on your way anyway.
You just buy a bunch of like, you know, smaller but still large batteries and you hook them together to create a car battery.
Just jerry rig a car battery.
So there's an Imperial like restaurant that's one of the closest ones. It's essentially a buffet that's like cosmopolitan, all foods from everywhere. But you could try something more exotic if you would like to essentially pick a random restaurant, since none of you know any of the racial or the species names that these restaurants are connected to. There's no Flotilla farmhouse.
Damn.
There's no Elixian like a la carte restaurant either.
I glanced and I was like, yeah. Well, I'm on this weird ass ship. I might as well eat weird ass food. So I'm just gonna pick something that looks exotic.
Roll a
and
d20.
different.
We accidentally need Dextra food and we all get Levo and die right there.
Yeah, they let the people on the ship just die from eating food that's not good for them. You go to the place that's like, just eat glass.
My favorite snack.
Kind of
Look,
is
I think
fine.
every-
Nine.
We added fiberglass to this meat dish for flavor.
Yeah, you go to one of the many restaurants. They're all like, the universal translator is telling you essentially a species name, and then that is the kind of restaurant that it is. You go to a restaurant that called itself Talisian. I'll type it for you. My urge to make these not make sense is very high, but I think that one is always just spelled the normal way. You go inside. The menu looks relatively normal. It's like your universal translator is like, this is meat and vegetables. This is meat and root vegetables. This is fake meat and root vegetables. This is meat with a different type of meat. Because your universal translator doesn't have the nuance to like pick up exactly what it is.
Are there pictures?
No. There's a waiter like that is walking around with a smart slab.
Excuse me.
You kind of had only caught them from profile, and their profile was very normal looking. They have like a very, very yellowish skin tone, but was human. And then as they turn, their other half, they have like jewel tone skins, and one half is just human flesh, and the other half is a really thin, shimmery layer of what looks like gelatin, like close to being a slime, but not. And they walk over. They say, "Yes, can I help you?"
Yeah, I want to know if you had any recommendations for something, not too like rich or full.
Something light like a salad.
Slightly heavier than that, somewhere in the range of like a light sandwich.
We are Talisians. Do not do bread or bread substitutes. But hold on. And he kind of looks through the menu and says, "This one." And he points at it. It is a. He says a word that clearly your thing just picks up as meat. But it is served between two thin layers of, and then another thing just says meat, and it says with like salad. That is the closest to the imperial ideal of a sandwich.
That sounds great. I'll have one of those.
Great. And for you others?
What's your favorite?
Oh, this is the most popular dish, and it's the universal translator reads it as like a stew with meat and root vegetables.
I love root vegetables. I will take it.
Excellent. And he like puts that into his smart slab.
Something with no meat, please, or all meat, no not meat, please. And if you've got spicy or like pungent, that's good.
No, not meat, please.
Do you have sea meat?
Oh, of course. Alicia is a beautiful coastal country, planet. We have so much water.
Coastal planet.
All right. A lot of water. I didn't sign up to improvise a full restaurant with the fake race and cuisine, but yeah, sure, they've got seafood.
I would have been fine if you had just been like, okay, the others eat.
No, I like it. Kids with you for this. Like you walk together into the shopping district.
Oh, okay. So I'm back for the rest the restaurant.
Well, no, you know that where you need to go to get it is on the way to where you're going anyway, so you can get it en route later. But you could go get it and come back halfway through their eating if you like.
I would do that.
Okay. Well, you all get not what you expect, because every time that they've referenced meat, it's still alive. So Valis gets these long. They're kind of like grubs, but they're very flat, and with their little legs, they are holding onto other smaller, like squirming insects. And then there is some blue kind of leaf inside it. You get a cold stew. All of this food is cold. They don't do hot food. You get a cold stew with like little kind of like little millipedes almost swirling around in it, and they'll do like little jumps out of it and stuff.
Connor will like start fishing out like the living millipedes and like a little bit of the stew with like a little bit of like a potato, and like put them in like little tiny containers and like start shoving them into their bag.
That's fine. Nix, you wanted meat and meat? You get a plate that's essentially like it's like a soft shelled crab that is like a plate size. And instead of having 8 legs, it has like it's like a circular snake almost. It moves with its musculature, and then on top of that are more of like the little grubs that are within Valis's sandwich.
And they're moving around on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nyx is surprised by that, but like it's meat, and it's sea meat, which she's very familiar with. So
And it's heavily seasoned. You're getting like a big whiff of like the big whiff that the scent that you get is like salt and citrus of it.
nice. I think since Nyx was like in the academy and therefore has had the occasion to eat a lot of weird things with all the different people there, just immediately like plucks off a grub and downs it.
My urge to make a Hakuna Matata reference is pretty high, so I'm going to move on. Kid, you walk into everybody like halfway. Well, not Conifer. Conifer's saving. Conifer's doing what my mum has done in the past of like saving an animal at a restaurant. But you walk in to see like Nyx eating like a squirming, like a witchetty grub, essentially, and Valis eating a now, I guess, doubly decapitated weird sandwich.
So like, is Kid just like holding a car battery or the equivalent? Like, what I keep saying car battery, but like the equivalent.
It's a lot flatter. It's a lot flatter. It doesn't have like the rectangular size, but it is it's like a giant double D battery more in size than a D battery in size rather than like a big car battery.
Okay. Yeah, Kid just kind of like looks at this monstrosity of a table that's just like sitting in front of them. At somewhere along the way, they would have tried to stop for something cheap and fast to eat.
Like an imperial place that just makes like grilled cheeses that you can just past.
I just like this idea of Kid just walking in, just holding like a half-eaten corn dog on a stick, and just seeing whatever the fuck this is, like on the table.
Yeah, the corn husk is not yellow; it's green. It doesn't taste great, but it tastes better than whatever they're eating, probably, to Kid. Like,
yeah, Kid will just blink a second time while just looking at the table.
Conifer clocks Kid coming in and will like reach up from like their like rescue mission that's happening and go, "We're over here, Kid. The food here is really good. The waiter's very nice."
The restaurant is quite empty. It's not like an eating time.
So it's just like.
But yeah, they're like towards the back probably as well. Valis, I think, naturally leads to not be near doorways.
Yeah, Kid will.
Well, if Kid wasn't directly coming over to them the moment that like they walked into the restaurant, then it was obvious that it was because they didn't see the table.
I like it.
That's a. Is that a sandwich?
Valis is not here, but I think that Valis is chewing and agreeing with you through food. I think that's a Valis move in this moment. By the way, for Nyx, who is actually eating, it's very good.
Yeah,
like
Nyx is
once you
enjoying
get past
herself.
the movement of the insects, it's very well seasoned. There's none of the like unpleasant taste that sometimes comes with eating insects. I don't know if that is a thing that you're familiar with.
You mean like that mealy, like musty feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these seem like they're reared on something that's designed to make them taste more palatable to anyone.
Yeah, Nyx is just like mowing through it.
Kid won't take a seat. We'll just kind of like loiter near the table, and as soon as they see like probably the same waiter see like a new customer and begin to walk over, we'll just non-verbally just.
Yeah, the waiter's like talking to a another dual-toned person that's like half gelatin, half human, and they're like conversing in a different language about food. So you have a car battery. Roll me a d20 and I'll tell you how much of your 300 credits it costs, because you can get them for cheaper. You can sometimes are more expensive.
17.
Okay, this would sometimes be a bureaucracy roll, but in this case, because they do have like a scarcity of what they can sell, it's just like what they're willing to part for it. So they will sell you one of them for 210 credits, and you can have one car battery equivalent. I'm curious about what this is for.
I am so excited.
It's just to power their Walkman.
That'd be
That's
really
it.
fun. I like it. Are you saving every bug in your soup?
No, I'm not. Conifer will like start eating it at some point because they're very interested in like participating in like this like but they do see the little millipedes and are like, oh my god, like I could have a couple of little millipedes and I could add that to my my garden back in and have some plant life in there, or not plant life, some bug life in there.
Make a xenobiology check for me.
You do.
Is this your technician skills?
Physiology.
Physiology.
That's my focus knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. So you would. The way that works is that you would get information that would, like, if you were doing something risky, I would tell you. There's nothing risky about making this roll. Also, you can spend a point to re-roll it if you would like to.
Mhm.
But go ahead. I'm just trying to make sure that I remember the expert stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's xenophysiology, not xenobiology.
Right. I didn't actually for being the botany person, I didn't put any of my like actual abilities tied to that.
I think it makes more sense to know if you're about to do a very dangerous medical procedure on someone. These are aquatic. You can tell, like, as you're maybe the first one, you put a little bit less of the stew in with it, but they need something to be like swimming in.
So yeah,
How
Conifer
you
will
know?
make like they have all these little like you know how when you like get those stupid like food portioning like Tupperware, like they come with the little tiny like cups that can fit like 4 blueberries in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have like a bunch of those in their bag that they're just scooping up soup and millipedes with.
Sure.
And then like stealing it.
I think Nyx eventually like turns to Conifer and like points at their dish, and then goes back to eating, but like has kind of like scooted some of their presumably different grubs to the side.
Conifer like is very excited about this and will also like start scooping them into a different Tupperware.
You have a collection of aquatic millipedes and non-aquatic grubs.
Yeah, we're gonna make a little ecosystem on the ship, and then we're gonna have food. It's gonna be. I think Conifer has started like muttering that to themselves also as they're doing this.
I pat at my mouth, wiping everything
I
off, and
I
turn
took
to
the
Kid.
liberty. I took the liberty. Kid asked how this, if it was a sandwich. I took the liberty of saying that Valis answered through like a full mouth with an
That
affirmative. Okay.
makes sense. But yeah, I like. It sounds like they're doing a whole thing. I finished my bug grub, my grub witch, clearly.
Sure.
Wiped my cheeks, and I turn to Kid and I say, glancing at the other two, you get everything you need?
Just kind of look down, gesture towards like the large kind of like flat battery.
I'm not going to ask. I look at the other two. Are you done playing with your food now?
Yeah, we finished at the same time. Your sandwich was the most like substantial of the meals as well.
All right then.
Great. We move on from this interlude. The camera kind of zooms away from you down through the maintenance. We see someone like in a maintenance room talking to another maintenance person, being like, "Yeah, 210 credits. I'll bet you that much on like the game. We want bet 210 credits." And they're like, their friend's like, "No, of course I don't." And then we continue zooming past down an elevator shaft down a hallway, down some ladders, down a hallway, down some ladders, around a pit, down a hallway, down some ladders, until the party finds themselves in this quite big square room. At each of the like cardinal directions of the room, there's another ladder going down, and you're looking at ladders A6, T1, B5, and U3. And Valis, you remember the last instruction, which was U3. But there's also a bomb door that's closed on top of it. None of the other ladders have been closed. But this one is also closed, so that in case there's anything down there, it's not getting out. Unless it knows the code.
All right, place your bets, people. What do you think we're gonna run into?
Didn't they already say it was a cloud?
Well, they said they went through a cloud. They don't know what is there. So it could be like a cloud-based entity or some kind of worm-like parasite that lives in that cloud.
Did Conifer press their ear up to the closed door?
Yeah, it's a trapdoor, so you're like, yes, you can.
Down?
Yeah, make me a perception check.
Oh, hey, Jack. Random question that has totally no relevance.
Mhm.
Would Kid be aware of if this large battery had, let's say, lithium-like qualities?
Yeah, sure it does.
Okay.
I feel like I just have to yes-and my way through this battery situation. Because I don't know batteries well enough. So, yeah, sure. Yeah, you don't hear anything. It's a thick bomb door. Like, it's designed to stop explosions.
What if I rap on it?
Sure. Do that. Make
Start
me a
improvising.
kinematics roll. You're trying to make, like, a loud enough sound that something on the other side would react to it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, make a kinematics roll to, like, hit that door hard enough for that.
Cool. My poor little robot
I
with no physical skills.
I really want that this just actually means that Conifer is now busting some rhymes over this door.
Higher roll, worse score.
Yeah, you can make another perception check.
Okay.
I could have made you do that with Brawl. That would have been funnier.
It
Brawl, brawl with the door.
I have the score would have been the exact same.
Mm-hmm. If you rolled badly enough, I was going to have you accidentally knock 4 times and put the code in. That would have been also very funny. I mean,
Fall straight through.
quite a comedy mood today. 19. You don't hear anything.
I think it's okay. I don't think there's anything behind the door.
Well, there's something behind the door. But
Yeah. But I don't think that there's anything malicious behind the door. That's what you were worried about.
Yeah.
I will say that you've seen all of this happening, like all the way you've walked through here. There are also robot access panels because not all robots can climb things, but they also are sealed off, like with codes.
I'm gonna begin to enter the code. Doop, 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 doop.
You enter the code. This whole area has smelt, if anything, of metal, because you're just in a giant metal like maintenance area with a lot of moving parts. As the code goes in and the bomb access slides apart, there's an acrid acidity to the air as it like whiffs up out of it at you. It's not overpowering, but you do kind of smell this this acidity in the air and an acridity that is unusual. And you can all make perception checks for the smell.
Nice.
This one's fun because the people that are most likely to succeed are also the people that are best at it. Well, I mean, that's always the case, but backstory-wise.
For the first time in my life, I think I have the best perception modifier.
I got a 20.
I
15.
also got a wait.
You got a 13.
I got it. Did I?
It says under
Yeah.
the thing who it sent to. I was also like, wait, which one has which?
Yeah, you have to like when everybody's rolling at the same time, you got to kind of go through. So it was 13, 20, 18. I forget that you're not wise, Nix. And then 15. None of you notice anything beyond the acrid acidity.
Oh, this is great.
Is it like acidity enough to where it feels like it's almost
No.
burning, or it's
No,
just the smell?
it's like if you it's like if you drop vinegar into a hot pan, that like burst of acid, which is not a pleasant feeling, but it's like it's not bad enough that it's affecting you at all.
Not like a chemical weapon.
Yeah.
No.
Kid will like kind of take a knee at the ladder and just kind of like tap their shoulder and have Dart deploy.
Sure.
And-
Darts down the ladder. It's quite a long trip down the ladder. It's about 40 feet on a metal ladder. But it comes out to a room that's about the same size. This ladder is at the very back of it. You get a little bit of it panning. You see on either side of the room a pair of robots. One of them has been seemingly bisected, and the other one is just slumped down. There's no light of energy through them or anything like that.
Bisected this way or this way?
It's a this way, this way.
A transverse.
Yeah. So it's not a perfect that. It's like a
Mhm.
more. As you as Dart tends to surge towards the stuff that's most interesting, surging towards that, it's not like a sheer cut. It's a almost like erosion of metal around that section. There's also out of this room a small walkway with a textured ground to stop slipping and stuff on it. Dart can like head further down there. There's another robot, kind of a little bit fallen face first into a wall, but still standing. And then as you turn, it's only a couple, like 10 feet down, and then you turn, and Dart sees there's lights down here. A big green generator, with a few like glass panels and stuff where you can see into mechanisms and things like that, but nothing immediately apparent.
Okay.
Uh,
After the quick survey, I would have Dart come back.
This is like outputting to Kid's visor, right?
Mm-hmm. You can theoretically be watching a very difficult to see version of this
Backwards and
through Kid's
distorted.
backwards visor. You're all just staring at Kid's face.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Whenever Kid sees the melted, messed up robots, like Kid's neutral expression is like a 5% frown, becomes closer to like a 20%.
All right. Well,
So
definitely some hostility down there. You
Well,
got
had that relayed to us, or were we also seeing that?
after Dart comes back,
we can see a very strange version.
Yeah,
I think.
you can see a
After-
strange
after-
version, and then Kid, go ahead.
yeah, so after Dart comes back, Kid would relay the useful information, which is everything that seems unordinary or out of the ordinary, and then the general look of the room.
And Kid gives you that information in a really like efficient manner, because this is like Kid's whole thing to do recon. It's like these are 3 dot points, and they're the important things, and you understand everything that Dot and Kid saw.
I think I'm the most heavily armored. Is that correct to say?
I think you're probably
think
the same.
I think you have like 1 AC higher than me.
Okay.
What's armor?
All right. I'm mostly talking to Kid at this point. like I've kind of turned away from the other two. Okay, I'm gonna take point. I'll head down first. I'll scope it out. You'll drone dart, excuse me, didn't get attacked, so maybe it's moved on. But just I'll hit the landing, and then like 5 seconds later, come in after me.
Yeah, as Valis is going down, Kid will mention, oh, by the way, Dart doesn't get audio, so.
I really wish I'd remembered that, and you just get down there and there's just this deeply unsettling whisper.
Like,
But no. You do get down and you hear the whir of the generator now that you're in its like space. You see the robots kind of on either side. I will No, I'm not going to put you to a map yet. That's fine. There's robots on either side. The one on the left is the one that's bisected. Make me a perception check as you like land and you're like eyes on.
Kristen, this is for me, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
That's fine. You get more 8s out of the way, like now. Just like throw these rocks away.
Locust is just over his shoulder.
Yeah, I didn't do a new thing, but for next session I will have.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You do notice that upon the bisected one in particular, because you're like drawn to, oh, that thing's been like essentially ripped in half, not like cut in half. But you do notice that there's a kind of red spore mushroom moss type thing that seems to be growing inside the chassis of this robot. And it is also around the gash that has eroded into it, almost creating like a weird red lip to this eroded midsection of the robot. And you can see that the bisection is not complete. The robot is has like a hinge of metal that has fallen.
I'm gonna do a like a horse calling whistle, which again I cannot whistle, but Valis can whistle.
Doing Valis having all these different whistles if we can't hear the whistles.
I will find a whistle thing on my phone next
A whistle soundboard?
Yeah, a whistle soundboard. And I whistle up, say, kind of up into the tube that leads down near the ladder. Conifer, I got, well, I guess not plants, mold.
You're right. That's not a plant. It's a different family. I won't call myself an expert on that, but it's certainly within my purview of knowledge. Conifer will also descend the ladder.
I'll like, as they're doing that, scope, like move into the room a little bit more and like just swivel around and try to see if I can see anything, but otherwise I'm clearing a path so Locust can kind of look.
So you can basically see the 3 robots. There's one to your left, it's slightly behind you, bisected now. One directly to your right, and then straight ahead of you, kind of face first into a wall but standing up, is a robot, but you can't see any power running through that robot. Conifer, you head down. I think everybody's going to head down at this point.
Yep.
I feel like as soon as Conifer goes down, Kid's like, well, I should be there too.
Well, Kid would have went down after 5 seconds. So
yeah. So Kid's almost at the ground when Conifer starts moving down. Conifer, you get down. Nick's last on the ladder, a bit slower as well, given Nick's arm situation. The one on the left that has been bisected, Conifer, you do you go next to it to like crouch down and have a look, or are you trying to look at it from further away?
No, I think that they immediately like will walk over, but seeing the destruction, like, will sort of visibly like slump down and make themselves like even smaller than they normally are.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though these robots hadn't like gained some level of sentience at this point in their life, presumably, or they're not life,
Sure.
their existence. The altering of their state of being is no less like sad because they weren't ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kind of crouch down next to it, and you see this. It is probably to your eye closer to a very small mushroom colony than a mold. But it's only because you understand plants very well, and you can make me a xenobotany roll.
I think Nyx is staring right over Conifer's shoulder, just looking horrified.
You
Just
can
not
tell with your
looking at them.
applied engineering that these are fixable. Like, if you get these back into any machinist workshop, you just put like a new panel over, and like you can fix robots relatively easily because they have a code thing that you just implant the thing in.
Even the one that was turned into a door hinge.
Yeah, even that one is fixable.
Oh, hell yeah!
You got the add up.
As Connor is like doing their investigation, I think they also start like talking sort of to the mushroom colony, sort of to this robot that they know can't hear them, will introduce themselves. I know you cannot hear me. I am designated 3FL-A2. For the past couple of weeks, I have been Conifer. I think right now I feel more like a honey locust, and we're going to get you better. And then continues healing them up. They're not healing them up, like investigating.
It's going to take you quite some time to work out as much as possible from this thing. Somewhere in the realm of like 4 or 5 minutes. Because also you can tell immediately that there is something dangerous about the matter of these plants, of these mushrooms. So you don't want to be like prodding them in case it releases something and stuff. So you have to be very gentle, and you like as kind of always will be. But it will take upwards of 5 minutes. What is everybody else going to do while Conifer is doing that?
Kid will head over to Valis. And not like harshly, but not necessarily gently, will kind of just like shove the battery like against their chest.
I look down at it.
I need someone to tell me to. I need someone to tell me to pull.
Tell you to pull?
Just throw it whenever you see something fucky.
Okay. Well, sure. I guess I got a free hand. You got a bigger gun. I'll take it in one hand. I'm assuming if it's car battery size, I can kind of swing it around a little bit.
It looks like a frisbee.
It doesn't look like a frisbee. I said it was a flat square. It doesn't look like a frisbee.
I love everything about you shooting skeet here.
I'm gonna like weigh it in my hand. How far do I think I can throw it?
What's your kinematics?
I have a 1.
10 feet.
Better than me.
Wait, your you have a 1 rank in kinematics or a +1?
No. I have 1 +1 to the skill.
Oh, you have +1?
Yeah.
We have the same modifier to that. Oh no.
None of us took kinematics, remember?
Yeah.
I have a 12 in strength. So.
Because it is quite aerodynamic, because it's a flat square, I'll say you can still throw it 10 feet. But it takes like your full action to throw it 10 feet accurately away from yourself so that you don't get blown up.
That's fine.
By what you assume Kid is planning to do to this battery.
I have deftness and quickness.
Yeah, unfortunately, how quick you can throw this thing is not useful.
I almost took kinematics too, and I was like, no, I don't need it.
All right, so that's taken 10 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I got it in my hand, and I guess or my assumption is that we're going to start to fan out a little bit.
Yeah, Kid will also switch to their shotgun, and will
Sure.
re-sling their rifle.
And I'm looking for cloud monsters, weird alien things, more spores.
One other specific thing. Dart is still inside the little shoulder holster, but Kid has it to where it's slightly protruding, and it's facing behind them, and they have one visor up.
Sure.
Rear view cam. Love it.
I'm going to give you a link to the owlbear thing, and you can actually move yourself around. While Conifer is nope, not there. Don't put in dice rolls. That's the worst channel to put it in.
So the generator is running. There is power to this section, right? You said it was humming?
There is a sound of humming that Val is attributed to the generator.
Oh, okay. So while as she's looking over Conifer's shoulder, she says, once you decontaminate it and everything, we can get upstairs and I'm sure somebody can fix them. It's the damage is not near as bad as it looks. But I'll be back. And she doesn't actually go anywhere. She is trying to quickly access basically whatever accounts for Wi-Fi down here to get a better lay on the land.
Yeah, you're on the ship network, and you've seen the schematics of this thing, and you will be able to see it better if you open the owlbear link.
Yep.
Okay, so we've just come in where Nyx is, right?
Yeah, you are in your position.
I cannot see the map yet.
It's all right. You're doing tests on mushrooms.
Okay, I'm gonna start.
Your positioning is fine.
Slowly move this way, then. Assuming that Kid's gonna be close behind.
Yeah, so you're 10 feet away from you. There's the robot that's slumped up against the corner of this thing.
Is there a map pulled up on Owlbear?
There should be.
I think it's just taking a second to load in for some people.
There's also some of it is black.
Not sure why it's a small map. If you go to the stream, you can see it as well because it's up on the stream.
There.
Yeah, it's the smallest map that I've put into Owlbear. Although it has been up for the last 16 hours. So maybe that's why. Maybe I should do this prep.
It loaded fine for me.
I typed into the password and it sent me to a completely different Owlbear. That's weird. We're good now.
It was okay.
Did that happen for everybody? Everybody got sent to a different Owlbear?
I got sent to this one the first time. I don't know.
Let me exit out of it and try to get back in. Is the password supposed to be capitalized?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just like, man, this map is really minimalist, Jack.
The map is also minimalist. It is the least effort that I put into a map.
Continue to slink forward. Can I try to be stealthy?
Yeah, you can roll stealth with dex. That's a fine thing for you to do.
Makes sense.
Nyx is still just standing there trying to pull up event logs for the system and area that they're in.
There's no access that you have now that you're in this area that you didn't have before.
Okay.
I like how I got a fancy one for no reason.
Yeah, it's random, I think. I don't think there's a real thing.
Kid will also try to be stealthy if they're walking behind Valis, who suddenly just goes crouch mode.
Valis stealths like somebody in a cover-based shooter.
Yeah.
Walks normally and then is at a corner and is like, I'm in a corner now.
I'm like a full crouch.
I got 1 point higher than Valis. I just like the idea of Valis full crouch walking, and then Kid is just standing normally and is somehow a little bit stealthier.
So you're You're behind me, so that's why, obviously.
Yeah, you two stealth up to a corner. Nix, are you also stealthing?
I'm sorry, guys, but unless somebody signals Nyx, Nyx is not stealthing. She is looking around her, gauging things and not paying attention.
I'm gonna glance back. Does Nyx have a weapon of any kind? Because last time they used like computer skills to vaporize people.
She has a wrench.
I'm gonna glance back as I'm like, go stay with the other one. I don't say that. I just like to wave you off.
The generator's over there, though.
I like to wave my gun slightly.
Nyx is like, but she's just standing there, like pointing at the generator, like that's my job.
I continue forward, ignoring this exchange.
Yeah, you head forward. You see a generator in front of you. It's very big.
I'm gonna keep
you
moving.
You notice some crates as you walk into that room.
I'm gonna keep moving till I see something move or a clear, strange entity.
Make a perception check. And then tell me what it is, because I don't have the dice rolls.
24.
You don't notice anything.
What?
As you're like very carefully looking for movement.
Okay.
You don't really notice anything.
I'll essentially move in stealthily.
As you get in, you do notice that there's a kind of tear in the floor, like in the hull. This is like the very, very bottom layer of the ship. And you can kind of see through it down to like where a shield is blocking that hull breach. So it is definitely plausible that something got in here, but it could have got out the same way.
Okay, that seems unlikely to me. I'm going to start to like walk around the perimeter.
Kid, you can also make a perception check. I want you to get a 25, and I'll just invent something for you to see that Valis missed.
I'd say I have the same modifier, so I need a natural 20 to do better.
Could happen.
50% of the time, it's a crit. It's either a crit or not a crit.
That's 7.
Oh, the other 50, it's a 2.
Yeah, so. You also don't see anything. You did roll between yourselves, like the correct average on 2d20. Yeah, you also don't see anything. As you're stealthing around these crates that exist in this map only to cover a symbol that was on the map that I didn't want, you come around to what is like the front panel of this generator. Make me an applied engineering check, please.
This is just happening when I see it because I'm not going to spend very much time looking at it.
Yeah. Yes.
I only have a +2. Wait, is that right? Is it dex based?
No, because you're not trying to fix something in a time crunch.
If I was, I would have a +4.
Ah. You wouldn't know what you were doing, so you wouldn't get to roll.
That's a nat 1.
Oh no!
It looks.
I'm not looking at it very hard.
It looks like a normal generator.
Yeah, my eyes pass over it. Like,
yeah,
whatever. I'm gonna keep walking.
You don't notice anything.
I will essentially loop around until I see something, or
you don't see anything as you loop around. Kid, are you looping around in the other direction?
No, Kid is like kind of like half leaning against whatever entranceway is into this chamber, and while Valis is just doing laps, is just sitting at the entrance to the chamber.
I get back and I'm like, I look at Kid and I give him a slight wink, and I say, in the loudest possible voice, which I won't scream here, because I think Emily's asleep still, but I just scream, Nix! To try to get you to jump.
A kid doesn't.
In any
jump.
other,
Kid just blinks at you.
Kid takes off his headphones and hadn't heard you scream. That was very funny. Yeah, Nix, you hear it, obviously.
Nyx like glances back at Conifer and then like just scuttles in. There's like she
Shuttles like Zoidberg.
yeah, she's scowling a little bit and she goes, all right. So are you sure it's safe for me now, Captain? And she's like already walking past him, going straight to the generator field. Like she didn't even have to like look around to know where she needed to be.
Not 100, but I don't see anything to shoot at, so you can have that at the generator.
So she's like already stopped paying attention to him, and she is going to that main screen that
So
he ignored.
as you walk in, the generator's running, but it's muffled.
I leave these boxes.
As you get to the front, you see these. You think that there's no way that Valis could have noticed this. You don't think that it's Valis missed something obvious. You think if Valis had noticed this, you're unnecessary in this room right now. But there's in like the welder, the like soldered welds. There's these little tiny holes that are lipped with red. And as you kind of look a little bit further into it, you have to like get your head into like a really awkward position to look through the glass into this, but you've done this like since you were a child. You can see these little outcroppings of these red mushrooms. That feels like 5 minutes. I'm going to send a message to Kristen. But what are you doing, Nix, while I send that message?
Nyx is muttering aloud, and they're not stuttering at all. They're just narrating to themselves. This is very unusual, very unpleasant. I don't. And they have two goals in mind. They're concerned about that muffled sound.
Well, you can tell that it's because of the mushrooms now.
Okay.
But that's all. That would also be what's causing the lesser output.
Okay. So I think it would take quite a large quantity of these things to. I'm going to open this up, Captain. See how bad the damage is. There's definitely stuff inside here. It is really not going to look good, I bet.
You go with your wrench, just like a little click, 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 and then the fourth one, and then you can start to lift it up. And as you lift it up, I need everyone to roll quickness.
This is where we all die.
Me as well, or
you especially.
Okay, cool. Given what I have just learned. Okay.
Well, it's more positional for you.
Cool.
I mean, at least she warned y'all.
Oh no.
Oh
no. Oh no. Oh no.
Okay.
Above 20. 15 to 20.
20.
15.
17.
We're all between 15 and 20.
17. Was that Locust 15?
Yes.
And Nix?
15.
Oh.
Nix has a higher mod if that matters.
It doesn't. I mean, they're not going to be fighting.
Sure.
I decided to do the initiative in Owlbear. You hear that all of you hear it because it's metal on metal. As these robots start to move, there's like a jerkiness that Conifer and Kid you see through Dart, who's looking behind you at this robot against the wall. There's like a jerkiness to their motion, and they begin to slowly step on these metal grates with their metal feet. But Valis, you are first. Oh wait, hang on. I forgot to reveal the cute little robot.
So the only thing that's happening is that the robots are starting to move.
Yep.
Can I see, just so I understand the map, is this like a hallway and this black space I can't see through?
Yeah, the black space are walls.
Okay. So I guess I start to hear the noise on like the hill and peek out over.
It has turned its body. Its feet are still planted against the wall, and it's like swiveled just its torso. There's no light in the eyes that denote power.
When I was like saw these things, do they have like anything that can be used as weapons?
Hard metal arms,
Okay.
Hard metal feet.
Like kind of, but they don't. They're not
But
carrying
they,
like
they,
buzzsaws.
they have no weaponized parts, and you probably knew that from the holograms that you were looking at earlier.
Yeah, I look back and I'm like, hey, Locust, is that you? I'm not going to do anything, I think.
Yeah. I think as you are like starting to notice it, Locust, you have time to like talk to the others. As you see the one in front of you that's bisected, the mushrooms kind of bloom out, and they pull the top half back to the bottom half, and it begins to like sit up. But you have time to talk outside of your turn.
Guys, it's not the robots, it's the mushrooms using the robots. So please do not touch the mushrooms. They will try to kill you.
Okay, that's when I would shoot, but I don't know if my turn has passed.
No, you still can. Because firstly, it was a critical, and because you would have known that earlier in this like studying of it. And as soon as they started moving, you'd be like, oh, it's because it's territorial and it's like they're moving for a reason. Nix, you're holding a piece of metal looking down at like one large mushroom surrounded by a lot of little mushrooms. Valis, you can take a shot.
Watch your ears, folks.
This is still adding your +1 for the higher condition gun.
It should be a 21 then. I should mark that next time.
Yeah, that hits. Just like clatters into this thing. It spins the torso.
Wait, I've got another mod section just for this. Right, this is the D10. Right. D10 +1.
Yeah, I trust that you know what your weapons are.
We didn't roll these last session. D20. That would be.
Valis has a gun that does a D20 damage.
Oh wait, do we add our dex to damage too?
Yep.
So that's a 9 damage. Sorry.
Yeah,
8 damage.
It takes it in the torso. It like blows a chunk of the metal off, and from that metal, like a burst of red spores pop out, and it like does a spin as it was already in motion just in the torso bit, and the torso like spins around.
I got one.
It's still standing, but it was standing before, so you don't know what that means. You hit one. Kid, you're up.
So did Valis hit the one that's like behind Kid?
That's the only one I can see.
The one in the hallway.
Okay. Yeah. Kid seeing this robo zombie get up is going to take a step forward, and they have explained that Kid's like shotgun is kind of like when it's folded up, it looks kind of like a rectangle of a handle. So it takes like 5 steps forward to get within range, and just kind of like with the arm motion causes the shotgun to unfold and just fires at the spore
Oh,
section.
it's like this this show's reveal of the one-handed pumping from Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just step forward and you like twirl a rectangle into a shotgun and take a shot. Make your attack roll.
So I do believe the shotgun has that variable range, and isn't
Yeah.
the first range bracket 20?
Yes, it is most lethal within 20 feet.
Okay.
It's still pretty lethal after that, but
Important distinction. We mentioned before, Kid doesn't have the +1 armor. They had the +1 weapon.
sure,
Right. Okay. Does that go to their shotgun or just the rifle?
the rifle.
Okay. Yeah, that is...
Man, these things do a lot of damage.
Yeah. You also get a general +1 for being a sharpshooter.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sharpshooters are better at all range weapons than anyone else is in the game.
That's a
Roll
crit.
20.
This thing's just gonna get immolated.
That's a 30.
That hits.
Let's go.
That hits. As with D&D, you roll double the damage dice, and because you're a
So-
fighter, you double your static bonus. And if there was an enemy within, I don't remember how far the distance is. Hang on, let me get my handy printed rulebook that I made.
Fancy.
Fighters are at their absolute best when they're critting stuff.
It's within 5 feet.
Yeah,
10.
10 feet.
Yeah,
according
10
to my thing. But there's sadly nothing within 10 feet. Otherwise, any damage you did over the top.
I was looking at the sharpshooter one.
No. But roll your damage.
Okay, so it's double the modifier too.
Yeah, so this just doubles exactly what you would have rolled.
Is that 68 plus 8?
Yeah, something crazy. And the way that fighters work is they have efficient criticals. If there was something within 10 feet, you would do any damage over the top to that. You could shoot the wall if you like with any extra damage, just to like really flex.
Wow.
That's 40 points of damage.
Where would you like to hit this robot?
Is this the one that had like the spores kind of holding the midsection together?
No, sadly, it is just
Okay.
a standing one.
Okay. Specifically just aiming for wherever the spores are.
So Valis just opened up a hole where it like bloomed out of, in like the upper left torso. You aim for that, and your shotgun blast is so wide that it does a very good approximation of bisecting this one, as the top half of it just shuffles off, like it starts to slide down, catching on, as you can see that the separation happens. Its entire insides are now mushroom. And it kind of hangs a little bit on that organic matter within it.
Okay. Yeah. That'll be Kid's turn.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you do than 40 damage as a level 1 character? At the end of Kid's turn, it takes a legendary action. No. I just want to go down in initiative order. Valis, you have a heroism app.
Mm-hmm.
So you have just your +4 shields.
Yep.
Kid, what app do you have for defensiveness?
I believe I have the same.
Heroism. Nix, you have heroism as well, if I remember correctly.
No, I have false life.
As you're doing your like step forward rectangle shotgun evisceration of this thing, you get a little ping to your visor. It's like, "Hello, Kidren. Would you like to activate false life for 25 credits?"
Kidren here is hello, and just me. Yeah. It's like
Roll a d4, and then you get +5 to that for your false life shields. Nix your heroism, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So it's
Valis, you
recent.
do get a ping that comes up and is like, thank you for using Heroism app. Your subscription is noted and appreciated. And on Nix's, it comes up with, thank you for using Heroism app. Your subscription is eternal. And there's just like a pirate flag that ripples across it as Nix's pirated Heroism app activates. Conifer, do you have a defensive app on your smart slab?
False life.
You get another thing that's like, would you like to pay 25 credits to activate false life?
Yes, I would love that.
Also roll a d4
Cool.
and add that +5 to your shields.
The text in mine says 1d4 plus 9.
No, that's right. You're
Okay.
right. I don't remember all of the different apps I wrote. Not all of you have standard things. Some of you pirated your smart slabs. Nick's jailbroke their smart slab the day they got it.
Thank you for catching that.
Yes. I am almost always going to get these things slightly wrong. Not almost always, but all right. Locust, you feel the false life. You actually feel it on a sensory level. Everybody else has a shield that like hovers past them, but your shield, like, you feel it through your outer housing as this robot sits up in front of you.
Okay. So, have you guys seen okay, I've got a couple of thoughts going on right here. One, Kristen, don't think that killing the robots is the way to kill spores. That's not how this works. Have you seen those that chick on TikTok who like goes around saving bees and will like scoop out like handfuls of
Yes.
bees and then like put them in like a hive?
Yes, I'm familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do I have a spade on me?
Yep. It's part of your gardener's kit.
Can I use this spade to try to scoop out like a big clump of these spores and put them in one of my plastic Tupperware that
Our robot's
that I
about
have?
to get spored.
Locust says, "Don't
It will
touch them;
cost you
they
your
will kill
action
you."
to do that.
What was that?
It will cost you your action to scoop a shovel of mushrooms out of this robot and put it into Tupperware.
Oh, I'm fully aware that it will cost me an action. What do I roll?
You don't have to roll, it happens. Like,
Okay.
it's sitting up right in front of you and you are already there. It's got a gaping wound that is filled with mushrooms. You just grab like a spade. You even have the understanding from your earlier crit to do it in a gentle manner. Like, you're not just slicing a bunch of them off. You're getting in really deep and trying to pick them off the back of the robot's like back shell.
Mhm.
And you do that. And you put it into some Tupperware.
Do I have an understanding of how much scooping I'm going to have to do to like rid the robot chassis of these
Yes.
spores?
It would probably take you between 45 minutes and an hour, assuming all three of them are as densely packed with mushrooms as this one is.
Okay. That's where I'll end this turn. Well, wait, one more question.
Mhm.
Okay. If, say, on my next turn, I wanted to hit one of the spore-filled robots with one of my healing stems, would that heal the mushrooms, or would that do something to the robot?
If you hit the robot, it might do something depending on how organically they're designed. You probably think that it won't because they're not an organic bodied creature. And if you hit the spores, it will do something to the spores.
It will do something, but I don't know what.
It'll
Cool
probably it'll probably do what your stim does to the spores. Like, you can fire your stim at a plant and it will do the thing to them.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, that's my turn.
Yep. Also, from your critical before, you know that the mushroom that is territorial, that is like the heart of this colony, is probably not in these robots, based on like the fact that you could see them roughly all at all times, and it happened while like everybody was somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, your turn ends. Nyx.
Locust, Nyx calls out, Locust, there are funguses in this generator, and she is staring down at it. She's still holding the panel, just kind of like up, almost above her head, as she like looks down at the large one, surrounded by all the smaller ones. And she is first considering if there would be any like decontamination protocols that could be run in this space.
In the whole space, yes, but it would kill all of you.
Okay.
But you could certainly do something with moving the energy flow within the generator to have it try and purge some of these mushrooms.
Okay.
So if you would like to do that, you make an applied engineering check. Basically, the way that I'm going to run this combat, I'm not always going to tell you that this is how it's functioning, but because it's one of the first ones where we have the two experts doing stuff. Everything that you and Conifer do towards it, you'll also roll a d10 plus the relevant stat modifier, and it will be hitting a different HP like total that you like can gain benefits from breaking down, but not scooping out the thing. That was a very nice thought, but sadly not enough to help.
Single tier.
But you have like a bunch of these mushrooms now.
Yeah, in my plastic Tupperware that is not metallic.
Yeah, plastic. Very importantly, plastic. Yeah, so make an applied engineering roll.
All right. And like Nyx is again talking to the panel. It's all right. We are going to get you fixed right up. And as she's doing this, she is now like realizing that she does exactly what Locust does, and then she is going to carefully reach in to redirect the applied engineering with Dex this time, since it's
because it's in the moment and quick.
all right. Oh Jesus!
No, you understand from that roll how to do it, but you don't in the 6 seconds have enough time to move them.
Okay.
As you're doing that in the other room, Locust, the one in front of you, sits up, then stands up, and begins to walk away from you because you don't seem to be a threat. This one also begins to walk. The one that is that has its top half slipping off, the robot chassis sheared, as it begins to fall, the mushrooms, almost like a wave, bring it back up and settle it back on top, and it takes one more step towards you, kid.
Gotcha.
And as we see it step forward, it flings out a hand, and it makes a ranged attack at you.
More than those little metal hands and feet to do damage anyway.
What's your AC?
It says 20.
You just see this splash of like red mist almost as it spores towards you, but you just step back out of it nimbly. And as it re-knits its sheer metal together, and Valis and Kid are looking at this thing that just took an amount of damage that would kill almost any robot either of you have seen. We're going to go to break for 10 minutes.
This is great.
And we got a flamethrower.
And we're back. Valis, you see this torn apart robot pulled back by the amorphous blob of spores of these red mushrooms as it steps forward and lashes out with a red mist towards Kid. What would you like to do?
Nix, you better get your butt into gear. We got issues. I'm gonna take a step forward to here. I think I'm like leaning. Can't really. I guess I'm more like here. I'm leaning out.
Sure.
And I'm going to. Do I want to throw the thing? No, I'm just gonna take a shot right now. Unless Kid asks me to throw it.
Which one are you shooting at?
The one that's was not hit. I guess
That hits. You just leveled this giant black pistol at it.
$12 points of damage.
Again, you just like clatter a shot through the chassis. This one like is a through shot. It goes back into the wall behind it, and just the spores and the mushrooms and how quickly they re-knit back to the space does make it look a little bit like a blood splatter from behind it, but then they fall to the floor. Would you like to do anything else?
I'm just gonna back up. So, 25 over to here, and like glancing back at Nyx, urging them to move quickly.
Kid.
Kid will take. Funnily enough, will basically take the exact same position as like Valis does. Almost the exact same. But to the one that was not already shot with the shotgun, will do like the spin reload and like fire.
Sure. Make your shot.
Once again, trying. I don't do the spread, but trying to aim primarily for any red bits that seem to be sticking out.
Sure. These well, the one behind it has a huge amount of red now because you have opened that up basically.
Yeah. 26.
Yes, that hits. I really thought you were going to crit again. I don't know why. Crit. Just be another casual 40 points of damage.
$17.
17.
As your shotgun shot, again, you like pick the point that Valis already opened up. This is not quite so catastrophic, but it does cut a huge chunk into it. And you feel, you don't feel, you see as you're looking at it, the mushrooms taking that same amount of time to kind of get back into control. So this is at the point that it has essentially hit 0 hit points. But I'm not going to lie to you and say it's dead.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. Guys, I just want to be open and honest, and Locust, it's your turn.
Yes. How I just again I cannot move my token right now because the owl bear because whenever there are technical issues, it's with me. I want to utilize all my movement and then also a dash action to get to where Nyx is. And I know that will elicit some level of, or will elicit opportunity attacks from.
It will not, because you have to have an ability to opportunity attack.
Only actually good people in this universe can attack of opportunity.
Yeah, only fighters ever have access to like good attacks of opportunity. Other classes get not as good ones.
Okay, I love to hear it because my AC is bad.
Hang on, I pushed the wrong button and I nearly imported a new map, which would have been a problem. You can get to like here. You can see the map though, right?
Yes, no, I have the stream pulled up, so that's what I see.
Yeah, so you can get to about there, like moving through the robots. It's easier because one of them just got like is in a sort of stasis state. But from there, you can't see the generator where Nyx is yet.
Okay. Was that just the movement, or was that also
with the dash?
With the dash, okay. Locust will call out to try to like find where Nyx's location is.
You can see Nyx, you just can't see into what Nyx is looking into.
Okay. Nyx, what's the problem down there?
Nyx says, those fungus in there. I'm trying to reroute power. Wasn't successful. Try again.
And try again, because it's your turn now. Unless you have a bonus action, Locust, sorry.
No, I think I'm good for now.
You are trying to rewrite the power again.
You said last time that I understand how to do it. I just can't yet do it.
You just failed to do it to the right area last time.
Okay, so yes.
Yeah, this one's with disadvantage.
Yeah, got it.
As you reach in to try and rewrite power, and the nanites in your system are like, we like cut into Nyx, and there's this little swarm of nanites, and we just hear a message pass from one nanite to another. It's like, Beta, is our host trying to electrocute themselves? We need to shut that down. And it like zooms back out, and you have disadvantage.
The Osmosis Jones nanites.
The nanites are as sentient as your ship computer.
Yeah.
Which
so
is to say not.
I feel like Nyx has like this level of like awareness of the resistance, and she calls out to Conifer, could use your help, and then tries it at disadvantage. Let's see. If I do D20, is it what's the notation for
DH1?
Okay.
Probably.
Let's just try it. No. I'm just gonna roll 2d20 and then we'll.
Sure. That's fine.
That's 10 plus, so it's easy. So that's
10?
14.
14. No, as you're doing it, the same thing happens. Like you're trying to cause. Ultimately, you have to push lightning towards yourself, and the nanites are like, no. And they're like, you go to switch it, and your finger twitches, and it switches into like the back of the generator, back where it's meant to be.
I think like Nyx swears aloud, and it's one of those things where it goes back and forth into like the common translators pick it up, and then also it's just like these Elixian things, and it's like this balance of really mild swears, like the equivalent of somebody saying fiddlesticks, and then really dramatic like incitements of violence against this panel's mother.
Yeah, Val, if you get one that's your universal translator is like, it's like suggesting that a neighbor should defenestrate themselves because they slept with their own cousin. Like, it's just an impossible translation.
Jesus Christ. No, he wouldn't say that. By the Admiral.
It's like a really weird swear. Meanwhile, the friendly neighborhood mushroom bots. One of them steps forward, the one that Kid shot, and seeing the person that's didn't know my phone was in here.
That's so
fucking
bad.
terrible. I was like, what is that? I put this somewhere else. Seeing
Robot.
it doesn't really have a thought process of like, well, you shot me. It sees the person moving closer to what it's trying to protect, and it will take a swing at Conifer. Whoop. Is your AC higher than 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Higher than 22?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I'm going to roll damage now. I'm going to assume that it isn't because you said you had bad AC. I don't know what the AC is. Oh, I didn't even get out the damage dice yet. You take 8 points of damage
Huh?
from your false life. It
Okay.
it hits you, and it's like a big blow. It probably you feel like this is as hard as it could hit something, and it just bounces off your false life. And your smart slab says, "False life failing." As you move down to 1 hit point in your shields. The second one cannot reach you, so it will just like motor a bit harder. And the one behind it, Kid, you see it remeld itself. Take that 1 5-foot movement it can do after that, and will lash out at you with a red mist. Missing. You just again are like that. Just move out of the way of that. It's a slow moving mist. Like
Yes.
they rolled, I think, a 13 and a 14 to hit you. And back to the top, Valis.
Okay. So this is kind of a system question. Is holding an action a thing?
Yeah, in this you can just delay your entire initiative to like you just say at the start, I want to do my thing after X.
Okay. I'm going to move to here.
Wait, I said after X, I mean after somebody else's initiative, and you forego your whole turn until their
No,
initiative.
I understand.
Yep.
I'm going to move to there. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to chuck this thing, but you got to wait for you and Locust to get clear first, and I'm going to throw the box over their head to this square.
Sure. That happens.
It kind of clatters, and then I'm going to back the fuck up. 5, 10.
I've decided to label it a companion.
To here.
Behind the crates.
I need you to work diligently but swiftly. That's my turn.
Nyx calls back, and there is like real. The tone is just entirely different surrounded all this. I didn't notice there was an emergency, Captain.
Oh man, you're empowered. I want to make you do psychic damage to Valis. That's funny. But that's not how your thing works. Kid, as I said, you are welcome to say, I will take my turn after this person's initiative. That's what you're doing instead of readying actions.
Question. So, is the whole concept of like dragging someone halving your movement, is that still a thing in this?
Sure, yep.
Okay. Kid will do the quick exchange of putting the shotgun back on their back while also kind of flinging the rifle like along the strap to like actually like hold it in their hands, while at the same time just straight up turning and just backing up as hard as they can and basically just kind of like back checking Locust. And we'll try to move them both 15 feet back.
Because your initiatives are next to each other, I'll let you just both do full movement on Kid's turn. That's fine. But but Locust, it is your movement. Hang on. Let me just delete this and bring out this because I do have the correct initial for Locust.
Okay, so we're both moving.
Yeah, you
Kid
can
is
move your
moving
full-
back. Okay, Kid is moving back. Not the entire movement, but like kind of getting here, so like 25.
Sure. And where would you like to end up? Great. Oh yeah, you're dragging. That makes sense. Okay.
Well, Kristen can't do their thing, so I'm just moving them.
Yes, I was going to move.
But yeah,
So
and then after like backstep walking Locust back, once an adequate distance is covered, we'll like hold the rifle up and fire at.
I'm going to tell you right now that you are shooting a bullet at a quite large lithium battery. You need to make me an applied engineering check to kind of understand how big this explosion is going to be before you shoot it. Or you can just do it.
Not sure
Does
they
it
care.
matter? Important question.
Yeah.
Does it matter if Kid doesn't really care?
No, you can just do it. You don't have to.
Okay,
roll.
cool.
I'm happy for you to just do it.
You love it.
We just all die.
Great.
Okay,
I
but
have
it's like-
so many characters that I'm ready to pull out of the back pocket now.
I mean, you can just travel on this discovery ship if you're all dead. Like Lucira is just like, well, I get a new crew, I guess.
Okay. Now, Kid will do a roll because I do like rolling. I don't know if it'll change their opinion or not. Applied engineering, right?
No, theoretical science.
Intelligence or wisdom?
Wisdom.
All right, +1, baby.
Hey.
That's a 3.
Probably not that big an explosion.
This is gonna
Like-
be pretty. It's gonna
Like-
be a pretty firework.
Yeah, you understand explosions, but like maybe you're not putting together that this is quite an enclosed space as well. So like the fire's got to go somewhere. But
No, actually, Kid will consider that and move back the last 5 feet they have, and we'll think that's enough.
sure,
This is great.
I like it. Maddie's gonna sit and watch this episode and watch you all die in a fireball, and then we spend the last hour making new characters.
So I'm gonna roll in to hit.
Yeah, you have to roll to hit. We'll say that it is. It's on stairs, so that's not that easy. Oh, you have ricochet.
Maybe you'll just miss.
I think you actually will automatically hit because of your sharpshooter feature.
Oh, great.
Let me.
It does
read
not. It
that.
does not benefit half
Yes,
or 3/4 cover.
Cannot benefit. I will say that you don't have to roll the hit because you are good at shooting things that are slightly awkward. So, like, you can see it on the ground, so you just can level your rifle and bounce it off either one of the robots non-harmfully, or off a wall, just into it with your little ricochet rifle shots.
Yeah. Kid will just aim up and shoot at the ceiling to have it bounce off the ceiling and straight back down.
Sure, it's just like a perfect triangle of like duh, duh, and then there's a moment where you all hear this like little venting of some kind of energy, and then none of you hear anything for the next minute because you're all deafened, no matter how big a explosion this is. I need you to roll me a d20 plus 10 for how big this explosion is going to be.
So low is probably better.
Yeah, you want to roll low.
Okay. You see, Jack. You said I'm going to crit twice. This is where I'm going to quit. This is where I'm going to crit.
I mean, if you crit
want
again,
less than a 10,
that's very
ideally.
bad.
Oh,
18.
okay.
Terrible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Roll
it's
below
gonna-
10,
It's gonna hit the generator.
like for the die.
Oh, you.
I mean,
that's with
considering your
the thing.
modifier.
Okay, that's not
Yeah,
that
I know.
bad. I thought you rolled an 18.
No. If you all got hit if it was a 28.
I was
Alright.
like, well, we're
Uh,
fucked.
I'm going to make everybody roll an escape save. Kid and Nyx are rolling to take no damage or a quarter damage.
Do I get a benefit for being behind all these boxes?
Sure, yes. You
Uh,
can have advantage.
It's like a semantic thing, and I don't know if it will matter in the grand scheme of things. I specifically said that Kid places Locust behind them.
Okay, so we're going to swap. Locust can make an escape save for none or a quarter, and you can make an escape save against being exploded by a lithium bomb.
Gotcha.
But yes, You did say that, and also the way that you were positioned before, it made more sense.
Plus, the shoving someone along is easier accomplished when you push them. Oh.
You get that advantage.
All right.
Dan.
So Nick's got 15, which will mean you take a quarter. Valis, you take half. Locust, you take a quarter. 13, you take the full amount. And they will take the full amount. There's no save.
To clarify, I took 13 damage.
No.
What?
I haven't rolled the damage yet.
Oh no. Okay. That's cool. Cool.
I'm like, what damage do you give this that doesn't belittle it, but like, I don't just
Party
like
wipe.
obliterate.
I will.
somebody?
I will once again bring up semantics. I did specify the equivalent of a car battery.
Yeah,
So,
but see,
whatever that
prevalent
should
of
turn
power.
into.
I also did look up lithium battery explosions, and they're like, the problem is that the fire that they leave behind is very painful and bad for you. Like, it's not just a normal explosion. All right. Oh yeah, I gotta slash roll it instead of just.
But I think there's no way that Valis and Kid aren't full dead. Jack thinks they're all terrible.
That bad. 25. Kid, you take 25. Valis, you take 12. Locust, you take 6. And Nix, you take.
Still standing.
Nix, you also take 6.
You said
All right.
25?
Yes.
That is exactly the amount of HP I have with my shields.
So the fire rakes across. So we see it in slow motion from the inside out. It's got one of those Deadpool like 360 degrees slow motion as it like just blossoms out. It obliterates every mushroom and spore in the 2 that are next to it. Just go up in flames, and then the fire takes on this like ruby red element as it now has this spore matter kind of mixed into it as it blossoms out. The one behind it is not completely destroyed. Also, the robot chassis are actually quite fine with this. Valis, you duck behind the boxes and you just like get clocked in the head by a box as it's just like pushed towards you. Nix, you're like blown off your feet by the force of this. Locust, you feel your shields take a momentary brunt, and then you just feel your housing start to burn. Kid, the shield essentially evaporates, and you just take this huge blast of heat. And the problem is that it's a heat that is so extremely, like, it clings to you almost, the way that this heat is attaching to you, and you can't like rid yourself of it as you feel it sapping your energy and you fall and your eyes close. As your eyes are closing and your consciousness is kind of leaving you to go into a state that in 5e would be death saves, you get a little ping internally in a chip that everybody has. And it says, "Welcome to Hinderoy Health. You seem to be in a spot of bother. Would you like to pay for immediate stabilization and medical treatment?"
With the fleeting bit of consciousness that Kid has, is there enough of a time for them to just... Is it like, I want like telepathic almost?
Yeah, it's like, it's designed to, in your last moment of consciousness, you can answer it.
Okay, Kid is just like, am I still on the Red Rider insurance?
You look at, like, you get the like a little ping. This all happens at once. You get a ping. You're not covered by their insurance, and it's like 100 credits to stabilize, or 2,000 credits to stabilize and have an immediate like surge of healing.
You're in an out of coverage sector, unfortunately.
You're on leave.
Yeah. Is there like a 4-for-4 plan?
There probably is. There's probably like an option that you can later
Cobra.
do. That's like, yeah, I'll like bank some of these. But right in this second, you're just deciding, well, would I like to stabilize or
You'll be
maybe bleed
fine.
out?
Conifer's right there.
Yeah, Kid is just like, oh man, that sucks to be broke, and we'll just pass out.
Oh, and you know that Hindroy Health is happy to let you go into debt to pay this. Like you can pay it later if you like, but you can also pass out.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll take the debt, the small
Sure.
amount of debt.
Yeah, it counts. You you feel like as your consciousness begins to fade and the fire like begins to hit you, a thin film of like shielding connect back up, and you can feel that fire being put out by the lack of like oxygen on your skin. And Locust, you can see that Kid is breathing relatively peacefully for someone that just got immolated by their own lithium bomb. Well, this companion is dead.
Truly, for the first moment, Locust feels something that's not like just joy or like the only negative emotion they have felt is like anxiety up to this point. There's a sheer like, what did you expect, my guy?
The problem was the shot was too good.
Yeah.
Like you just made too good a shot.
So with my too good of a shot, can I have one last aspect of Kid passing out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if anyone makes a high perception check, you see that Kid passed out with a small thumbs up.
Still flashing on their visor, like
the camera, as it followed the explosion that just took Kid, you like thumbs up into the fire in that the camera sees that, and then you immolate. Valis, you are up.
so the robots are down, essentially.
There's one. That robot healed itself and steps 5 feet because it's not dead. But you can hear it
Does
around.
Nyx didn't go?
Oh, I'm sorry, Nyx. This one is still dormant then.
Nyx, presumably.
Yeah, Locust didn't
Yeah,
get
Locust.
there.
Locust
Got
didn't
there.
go.
You. All right, Locust.
Yeah, I like.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Silly. I will drop Locust will drop to their knees like a little bit frustrated that this is what their life has come to. And will drop the healing stem that I have, which I will put in the chat. It's 2d4.
Sure. You can roll the healing for it as well, and it just happens.
Okay.
Because you're standing next to them. You just get like a really small syringe, like just prodded into you. There's no side effect for this one. This one's fully developed.
Yep.
And then-
That's 6.
Yeah, you heal 6.
I'm awake again.
You are. You wake back up.
Covered in
As you wake up and your eyes open, your visor is just like a little Hindroy Health doctor with like the headband and a thing, and just like putting money into a briefcase and then giving you a thumbs up. And then it like burnishes off your visor.
Kid in kind of like a small state of delirium from just now waking up from that. I'm assumingly just kind of looking up at Locust's like head over over them.
You've got a frowning, not scowling, but certainly the first time you would have seen Locust frowning, like right over you.
Kid will just kind of like, as probably like whatever free talking action that they have, will just, oh, okay, good, you're alive.
As that happens, and we pan around from Kid and Locust. We pan around the generator, and we see the glass panes on the generator as the flame kind of dissipates as it's still rolling through. Crack and just go across every glass pane. And the whirring of the generator that you could hear, Nix, that was dampened, is still dampened, but it begins to take on an incorrect cadence to it. It doesn't have the right rhythm. The pistons aren't moving in the way that you think that they should be moving. And it's your turn.
Does this incorrect rhythm have the rhythm of a quiet failure or the rhythm of oh, that is not the only explosion we might see today.
I think that Nix knows that things very rarely break slowly in these moments. It would break and just be done, or it would be like not gonna break. And this is a thing of like you can tell that it got worse and it will be more effort to fix now. But it's not about to explode again. Unless another fireball hits it. Maybe. Or maybe you critically fail this roll and you lance electricity into the already damaged parts.
So
Could happen.
I think yes, it could, and I think Nyx takes a moment. Does she still feel that sense of restriction and struggle from her nanites, and does she know what it is?
Yeah, I think she always knows. You can use a PowerPoint to tamp it down if you really want to get yourself under control.
She does, and unlike with everything else that she just chatters to or talks to, this is her dragging herself up because he said that this explosion knocked her off her feet, and she still can't hear anything, and so she's very loud getting up. She's knocked stuff over. She's that metal panel. She's scattered it, but she just shoves herself upright, and her arm is kind of like jittering as she tries to reach into it, and she forces herself to stillness. She's biting her lower lip so hard it starts to bleed.
Okay.
And that's the PowerPoint. And she is going to make that attempt again. Before she does make the attempt, she does like scan the system and then the room round to see if there's anything like she wants to make a perception check to see if there's anything she's missing in terms of ways to get this generator, if not offline and stopped contributing power to the thing, to zap
You can
the
just
thing
turn it off. Yeah, you're like in the control panel. You can just hit the kill switch if you would like.
Okay.
But it stops you being able to deal damage to the mushrooms with electricity.
Okay. And she doesn't have the like any indicator that like the mushrooms are feeding power off of this thing and that would be thus disabled. She just feels like they need to be zapped. They're just living in here.
You can make me a xenobotany roll.
If only we could talk to Locust.
Now you can talk to Locust as well. Like you're
But
in the same area.
We are, but aren't we all deafened for the next minute?
Oh yeah, you're all deaf. I forgot. Yeah. I forgot that I ambiently also added that to you.
Yes. That was going to be my plan, but
hold on. You got smart slabs. Like just send a message to
okay
to Locust.
Yeah. So well, and that can be a free action.
Yes.
That's like okay, yeah. So Nyx just like dictates it, knowing that she can't hear, but that doesn't mean her smart slab can't. So that turns voice to text. Locust, I can try to zap it, or I can turn the generator off.
I Kristen Ammons don't know what Locust like the
the mushroom isn't drawing power off the generator. Having the generator off will not impact the mushroom at all. Is what you know about the mushroom.
I relay that back via smart slab text, and then we'll continue and go, I'm trying to get over to you as fast as I can.
Nyx just like sends back, and like it's just like an auto function that she has available. Instead of like a thumbs up emoji, it's like a chibi of like tiny Nyx, like a cartoon style sticker of like double thumbs up with a big grin, and then she attempts once more with dexterity.
To zap it, not to turn it off, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, the electricity doesn't course back into it, and it does kind of like move towards these mushrooms, and fries them a little bit. So roll me a d10 plus your dexterity. I think that Kid did know what they were doing and did the only thing that was probably going to stop these robots.
You don't get a comment on the chat live.
I get to comment on whatever I want live because it's 3:00 in the morning and my brain is breaking down a bit. You do a little bit of damage to push through these mushrooms. The robot out in the hall, as it heals itself, you hear kind of a really deep kind of moan sound from it. But it can't
Do
do anything
we
else.
really? Do we feel the moan?
All right, none of you hear the moan. Valis.
Remembering deafness is like so hard as a player, or GMs, like all those conditional things. I'm like, haha, I remember a thing.
Mm-hmm. Valis, what would you like to do?
So, what's the situation with Nyx exactly again?
Nyx to Valis is looking into the interior of this generator and seems to be fiddling with their smart slab kind of like plugged into the direct interface.
Okay. And there's the one kind of functioning robot.
Yeah, little last one just on its little legs wandering towards you.
Can't really hear.
I'm also gonna say that Nyx probably just opened up the last group message, so that last message probably just pinged to everyone of like, I'm gonna do this thing, because they weren't going like slow to open up a specific message.
I'm going to say, because I did say that the reason you could tell the generator got worse was because of hearing, you can feel it as your hands are on the thing. Should take that away from you because you're being so pedantic about your own hearing. So yeah, you all got the question that Nyx asked to Locust of like, what's the deal with this mushroom?
I think I'm gonna. I can't talk. I'm gonna take. Can I shoot and then type something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say it's your free object interaction to.
I will move to a spot where I can take a shoot.
Take a shoot.
Just so I'm slowing this thing down still.
I really need to hear "take a shoot" in Valis's accent.
14.
Yeah, that hits. You both roll very high every time you attack, so
12.
Again.
I'm going to then quickly type to Nyx. Is this going to take longer than the next 30 seconds? Question mark. And move back as I wait for a reply.
Valis has spent this entire conversation, or this entire fight, like, Nyx, work faster.
The best hackers can do this in 1 hour. I need you to do it in 30 seconds.
Well, I just don't. Valis doesn't understand. Like, is this a quick thing? Is this not?
Nyx's response is just like, variable? Probably less than 30. Maybe more.
What an engineer's response.
I give you a flat look, and I'm going to finish my movement by staying next to you and just like pointing at the door, like we're leaving. I'm not letting you mess around with this for another minute.
All right, kid, you're face down on the floor.
Rolled face up, but now
Roll face up. You're prone is the important thing.
Kid is not. They can feel the vibration of their smart slab like on their leg, just like at the group chat, like pinging, but isn't going to take the time to look at it.
There's too much chance it's Lucira, like having organized the new thing.
Yeah. Kid is going to stand up and kind of like that, like kind of like stumble step to like kind of get their footing back. But you see them like begin to move, but then stop and kind of just reposition and straighten their footing out to where they're still just standing in front of Locust. And they're going to raise the rifle and, I guess, shoot the robot.
Mm-hmm.
$26.
Yes, 26 hits.
I'm not sure we can miss these guys. Unless
I was
roll
like,
one.
can you miss this? I think you can, but it's hard.
Rifle is 2d10. Yeah. $16 points of damage.
As you bring your rifle up, you shoot through it, and the chassis. This is another through shot. This like whole thing has been shot a bunch of times, and as you shoot it, the red mist of the spores doesn't puff out of it. It starts to look, as you're watching it, that you've started to do enough damage to the interior spores that they are running out.
Okay.
But it is still up.
Yeah, Kid will end their turn where they're at.
Locust.
How much more movement is it going to take to get me to Nyx?
I checked. You're in 30 feet. If you
Yeah,
go
30
like here.
feet.
Yeah, let's get all the way over to Nyx. To whomsoever is being kind enough to move my. Locust will can I now see into the end, like
Yes.
into the
Yeah. As you look down, what Nyx hasn't really described to anybody is that there is a large like king mushroom of this type of fungi sitting in the middle with like essentially fields of the much smaller ones beneath it. But that one in particular is throbbing like with an energy beneath the top that kind of makes it look angry and very deep red, as opposed to the others, which are a little bit more crimsonly, like a light crimson. This is like a deep angry crimson.
Mm-hmm.
Make me an understanding check.
Love it. Plus. Assuming that's a wisdom understanding, not a charisma.
Yeah, wisdom's fine. It could be charisma, but I will let it be wisdom in this case. I was thinking about how you're actually interfacing with it, and it's not saying anything to you.
Oh, I forgot to add that's +8 to that.
Is understanding your reliable skill as well?
Yeah, so can I Yes, after the fact,
Yes, you can after the fact.
make that, so that'll be a 16 instead of an 11.
Okay. With a 16, and because you crit before, 16 would not be enough if not for the Xenobotany crit. As I said, this mushroom is like a hive, and it has a sentience to it that is far more animalistic than most plants. Like, it is aware in a way that almost nothing else plant-wise that you've come across, except maybe the vine, is. This understanding roll plus what you know about it from your xenobotany roll. This is a thing that exists largely to destroy things. Like, it will find a habitat and it will eat the habitat to gain a small amount of nutrients to just populate and propagate its spore and its colony. If this stays on this ship in any form or any ship, it will do anything it can to consume things to then destroy and build its own colony. It is the closest thing to actual evil in a plant that kind of can really fathom at this point in your experience of plants. Like, it is the most ultimate pest. I described in the whisper to Kristen that it is ironically like a locust swarm.
Is would Locust know what would happen if they took like one of their strands of the vine and like let that interact with this mushroom?
No.
Can I try it?
Yes.
Excellent.
God, I
You-
love this party.
You just
Remember-
the vine that is coiled around your arm.
Yeah, I think I have two of the vines, so I won't lose Fidget totally. But
You just let it, like, you just put it onto the king mushroom, essentially.
yes,
I'm trying to think of plant hierarchy and which one's more powerful, and I think the vine just is because of the nature of it. And the other thing didn't roll very well. Nyx and Valis, you look into this thing and Conifer just puts.
As I'm pointing at us to leave.
Yeah, Locust just like deposits this vine that you've all seen. Like, you've seen this vine grow and start whipping batteries around. Like, this vine is a thing that kind of Locust fidgets with a lot, and you deposit it on top of it, and for a moment, not a lot happens. But then the vine coils kind of downwards around it, and the spongy exterior of the mushroom begins to get distorted by the strength with which this vine is coiling. It feeds off first the generator you just put it into, and you see the outside of it electrify and get like a thicker and thicker blue kind of scale to it, and the mushroom that it is wrapping around shifts its coloration from its red to the purple and then pops, and the vine falls into the space that it had created, and every other mushroom kind of starts to ripple to purple. You don't know what that means, but that is what happens on your turn. The robot doesn't move. Valis.
It's Nyx.
Nyx, sorry. Nyx.
So Nyx has watched this happen. Has anything changed with the status of the generator?
That's a great question. It is sounding even weaker than before, but not in a way that sounds like it's failing. In a way that
Okay.
sounds like the energy is being siphoned somewhere.
Okay. She's going to. I guess she looks at Locust and says, "Does that need it?" And like, it just like stops talking and just like reaches, indicating like that she could pull it off if necessary, but doesn't move to take it yet.
Oh, we're out of initiative, by the way, because that robot's not going to move.
Okay.
Conifer, or not Conifer, Locust takes out the smart slab and pings out another message to the group chat. Still be careful, like touching the mushroom. Fidget is fine to move around.
And so, trying to salvage what's left of the generator, Nyx is going to very, very carefully reach to remove the vine. Fidget.
I need you to make me a fortitude save.
Got it.
I'm trying to think if there's a way that you could possibly fathom what is about to happen, and I don't think there is, and I definitely don't think Conifer could.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's why I was like, I don't know.
I think it's only possible that Nyx might, but I don't think you know enough about the situation to do it.
Yeah, there's too much. Whoo!
That,
Not rolled above like a 10 in a
I
long
thought that was a
time.
1 plus 8. I'm like, you don't have 8 in fortitude.
No.
You reach out to touch it. The nanites in your system see you reaching out to touch what to them kind of feels like an electrified cable, and it's like we get the internal shot, and it's just like, what is this thing? What is this host doing? But as you touch it, the electricity doesn't do anything because this is not a conductive vine. But it is a vine that draws off energy, and as the nanites in your right hand, your good hand, have tried to go there to protect you, you feel the vine empowered by the electricity, empowered by now this colony of mushrooms which it is amalgamated into, draw something out of your hand, and you feel this immense pain as a small stream of the swarm of nanites that are inside your hand rip through the skin and are pulled into this thing, and a spray of blood out of your hand just sizzles along the vine.
I'm gonna pull Nyx back immediately.
Yeah, Nyx just like kind of crumples, like visibly, to the audience, screaming, very high pitched, kind of shaky, but like just holding, like trying to bring her arm into her stomach to protect it.
The vine, now different and changed, and also with some nanites in it, kind of coils like a snake
monster.
and springs forward, slithering along the floor till it finds that hole in the hull, and it just dips down into that.
Like to vanish or to...
Well, I mean, you can't see it, and it is not there anymore, but the mushrooms do begin to wilt and die.
I look at Locust, and I'm just like, are we good, or is this terrible?
Locust might be crying right now.
Where does that hole lead?
Just outside the ship, right? Is our understanding?
Well, there's a shield there.
Internet died for a second, so I missed everything that happened after Locust might be crying now.
I facepalmed. Kit asked where the hole leads, and it leads to like the hull that outside.
Yeah, so like so there's a crawl space where there's a lot of the piping and electricals that go out of this room to everywhere else, but there is a hole straight into space from it.
I'm just gonna...
It's also very small, like it's less than arm-sized.
Kid will pull out their smart slab for like the first time, ignore all the messages that have popped up since they last pulled it out, and we'll just at this point it's kind of like leaning against the boxes for support. It's just going to kind of sluggishly type out "Vine snake eat shields?" ?
Is can the locusts still hear, or like are their electronic hearing fried?
For game purposes like that, Locust suffers the same way that you do.
Okay. I'm going to drag Nyx over to them, and I'm gonna put my hand on Locust's shoulder. I'm gonna look him in the eyes, and I'm just going to mouth. I'm gonna say, "I need you right now," and I'm going to like turn them towards Nyx, and like if I see their stim packs and stuff on them, I'm gonna just start pulling stuff out. Like, is this what you need?
So Locust like snaps out of their momentarily like shock, of like true. This was an emotionally like impact, but I've got a thing I might want to talk about in a minute. We'll take like Nix it, like we'll offer like out their hands to Nix, and we'll be like, if you want me to like take a look at this, please give me like your hand. I'm not gonna take it without your permission though.
First thing that I need to make a note of: did Nix take any damage from that last hit?
Not that the nanites didn't deal with immediately.
Okay. So Nix kind of like is still, I'm thinking like, so Valis grabbed Nix. Is Valis still like holding on to Nix, or did he let go to get Conifer's or Locust's attention?
No, I let go. I just assumed that you were like bleeding out in tons of pain, so I like dragged you over, and then I'm like now trying to get Locust to focus up.
Yeah, it was an extremely large amount of blood in the moment, but already the nanites are like, well, let's just cauterize that internally.
Okay. So in that case, Nyx just kind of like closes her eyes and stands up and flexes her hand, and shakes her head at Locust. And there's, she is not frowning. She's not smiling either because she looks like sick to her stomach. But she just kind of gives a weak little thumbs up and then turns her attention back to that generator, listening to see.
Is their hand like still visibly fucked up though, but just not bleeding?
Yeah, like you can see like where something has been pulled out of their fingertips, like from a couple of the fingers.
And this is the left hand, right? Because they were protecting the right hand, or is it the right hand?
It's your good hand. I forget which hand is your good hand.
Okay, yeah, so it's her right hand. Yeah, and so like Nyx's like fingers are twitching slightly, like she's running her fingers over like these tissuey holes, like
yeah, and you can't feel anything because the nanites are like, no thanks, I'm gonna cut those pain receptors off for a bit.
Val's is like, what? Okay, I guess they're just fine despite the massive blood loss.
What you don't know is that all Alexians are deeply anemic.
We don't know about the nanites at all, right? Still, that's
nope.
my understanding. Okay. So Val's is
like looking like Locust doesn't know about the nanites, so couldn't foresee that outcome, and you don't know enough about the vine to foresee that outcome.
Yeah.
While then Nyx is doing that, I'm gonna look at Locust again, and I'm going to I guess I'm just gonna hold up my data pad and start typing. I'm gonna say like, should we worry about vine?
Kid will thumbs up the comment.
Can I make? Is there a roll I can make for that?
I think you know enough about it that you know that vine is going to look for the most powerful source of energy because that is its nature. Unlike the mushroom, it is not evil. It's just like, well, I'm hungry.
Locust text back. There might arise a problem for this ship, similar like in symptoms, but should they send down should the leadership send down more robots or send down more men to try and solve it, it won't result in this kind of carnage again.
I nod at that. I look around. I look at Kid and I'm like, you or no? Where are we at? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Kid who hadn't seen, because their token was positioned on the other side of the generator, and I just imagine them sluggishly walking over, sees like probably the end result of like the hand nanite thing, and then like just look down and just past their feet just crawls like a vine snake and is now just kind of leaning against the crate, still just kind of looking at the hole, and now like kind of looking up to Valis. Looks down at their hand and has the realization that they haven't put their thumb down yet from the explosion, and just kind of like holds their hand up.
I'm gonna slowly nod, and I'm gonna put an arm on Lucira, not Lucira. Sorry, the L token threw me off.
The L tokens.
Put my arm on Locust and start to gently lead everybody out of this room and back upstairs.
Nix, you looked at this generator enough, even with the mushrooms. It's not that hard to fix now that like they are dwindling. It's like maybe a 5-minute fix.
Yeah, so I
Ironically,
think
you got to tighten some bolts, oil a piston, and solder something.
yeah, I think Nyx, because she's deafened and because she's just like single-mindedly focused on the engineering to not think about what just happened with her hand, she doesn't even look up as they start to exit. She's like already like laying on her back, clearing out the schmutz, and beginning to clean the space up for soldering.
Kid sees Valis leading Locust out, and will get like do the motion of get kind of off the box, and will like take a step, and will turn and see that Nyx is not moving at all, and will just kind of like let their body weight let them fall back against the crate.
Locust will.
Sorry, go ahead.
Locust will let themselves like be led up to the point that we get to the one robot that's not been fully disintegrated.
The other two didn't get fully disintegrated. The chassis are flame resistant, but the spores did.
And we'll like just sit down next to one of them.
I'll let that happen.
There's a one full bot, and then two bisected in different ways bot chassis around. And you just sit next to it, and we kind of get a very quick like it's almost like an Edgar Wright style flash cut of beers being poured, where it's just like bolt, solder, oil on a piston, Nick's like brushing their hands. Now 2 weak hands. You lose 2 condition, Nick.
Nice.
And
Go
ahead.
I think as we're wrapping this up, assuming that in this time my hearing fully returns, or
Yeah,
mostly
it only takes about a minute till the it becomes like a slightly high pitched whine, and then it winds down to like just your hearing again.
I'm gonna look at Locust. I'm gonna say, so whatever they're doing to the robots is almost finished. Say, Locust. I'm not really sure what you do with that line, but seems like you fixed the issue. So good job.
I still think I made a mistake.
Everybody makes mistakes. I know that best of all. We're all alive. That's what's important.
Before, when I was just not, before I was me, when I was different, a different state of being, I didn't make mistakes. I just did or did not. And sometimes that feels easier.
Probably is. But that's the price we pay for free will. So we have to make mistakes.
Locust will then look at like the other 3 like robots. Are they still good enough to salvage, you think?
I imagine so. Maybe replace some electronics. Maybe we only save 2, but I'd still call that a good day.
Locust allows themselves like a small smile and goes, "They could be me one day."
Nobody could be you.
And they'll like continue to just sort of linger and try to like collect up like the robot bits.
Yeah. The scene pulls back from the two of you, and instead of hovering to Kid or Nyx or Lucira or someone else, it wraps itself around until it's in darkness, and we see a black tentacle in a yellow orb sort of come to life, and see the purple vine still pulsing with electricity, having found its target of the most powerful thing on the station, inch forward and try to touch the orb. And we fade to black on that scene. You after Nyx is finished quite deftly fixing the engines, we find that you head out all the way back up to Elowin's office. You give your report. She immediately sends some people off to find the robots to recover them, and their own independent verification. The engine is working. She still says engine, but the generator is working.
Fix that engine.
Yeah.
She hands you 1,000 credits each. Now and says
Wait.
once the verification
Okay.
that the engine is fixed, we will do that. And then she hands you, as the captain, essentially a cred stick that has 20,000 credits for on the ship. And she says, "You're also welcome to use one of the private rooms on the ship if you would like, unless you want to go back to your ship."
Sure. I'll take the key to that or passcode.
Yeah, she gives you 4 passcodes for like rooms on the ship, and she says, "I understand it will be near where Commander Shemdir is."
Right. Do you happen to know how long, rough time? Is this going to be like a couple days or?
Probably it will wrap up sometime tomorrow evening, maybe tomorrow morning. The captain speaks glowingly of your second in command.
I think that's... Well, every member of my crew is one of a kind. I can tell you that.
She nods, taking what you said very sincerely.
All right. I turn to everybody else. I say, who wants to go spend 20,000 kind of credits?
Nyx
Hold up this
just
stick.
says, Captain, I don't know how you plan to allocate these resources, but I'd just like to point out that our actual engines are in slight disrepair. By slight disrepair, I mean they're the worst thing quality on the ship, and I would like to submit a work order, a funding order for those.
While Nyx is flailing anxiously through the sentence, you get a telepathic link from Elowin saying, "We are not going to have parts to like repair bad engines on the ship to spare."
Right. I'm gonna look at Nyx. I'm gonna say, I would love to do that. I've just been informed that they don't have matching parts for our engine. Certainly not ones that they could spare at the moment.
Nyx just, that's fair. Like, she genuinely expected this, but just had hope.
As far as splitting it goes, I think find what you want to buy, and we will see how everything is. We should spend all 20,000 credits because we can't use this anywhere else. So we should. If you see something you want it, like put it in. We'll tally it up, and we'll try to get everything everybody wants. And if there's stuff left over, we'll just buy some random shit to sell later on.
A clarifying money point for Kristen, who is me. Is the 20,000 credits in addition to like the 1,000 that we each also got individually?
Yeah, and you will get another 1,000 credits each. But just it will happen tomorrow.
Yeah, and what Valis is essentially saying is like, we should spend all of this because this is the only place we can spend it.
We're never
and
coming back to this shit.
And there's no reason not to buy as much stuff as we can.
Yeah, while this is happening, Kid, who is kind of just... They've kind of been using their rifle as almost like a bit of like a crutch, slightly. It's kind of like leaning on it and has their visor activated, and this is kind of like using their eyes like a mouse cursor. And a little like image of a piggy bank being cracked open, and then it says 45 credits has been deposited to Enjoy Health.
That's very funny.
There's a ping on everybody's smart slab as a spreadsheet with like names and requested items, and like an auto summing feature from 20,000 just appears.
I will also I know Lucira's busy, but I'm gonna ping them saying like, we have a bunch of ship script. If there's stuff you need or want, let me know and I will pick it up.
Sure. We'll open next session with you getting some little downtime, a little bit of shopping, a little bit of enjoying being level 2, because you will be level 2 the next session. Which doesn't change an enormous amount, but it's
Or
not bad.
HP.
They're getting new abilities.
I forget, are we rolling for HP?
Yes.
Do we want to do that now, or do you want to do that at the top of next session?
Yeah, you can roll for HP now.
What is a D12?
I will let you reroll ones.
Yeah, so D12 for D12.
D12 for the tanky boys, the tanky range boys.
We'll find out how tanky. Pretty good. Okay.
Okay.
Both
And
above
plus
average.
one, obviously.
Plus one from what?
Con.
I said plus con.
Oh, plus con. I heard plus one. I don't have any con.
Uh,
I will
experts get
eventually.
plus 8 plus con. Plus D8, not plus 8.
Purdy looking 24 health.
Literally all that experts get, because they don't even get an expertise point.
I don't think we get anything, do we?
For level
No.
2?
No, level 2 doesn't give you anything, but you do get closer to getting the ability to unlock abilities. This game runs on mainly experience to gain new things. So right now, all of the players can spend.
Oh no,
experience to buy-
I get another MP because I'm an esoteric fighter.
You do. Everybody has the ability to now spend their experience on skills, as they have been doing as we go along. But once they hit level 3, they can buy abilities as well. I need to check a thing. Charlie, I know that Nyx is quite close to an expert, but is not an expert. So you have a D6 plus con for your hit die.
Oops. Okay, so I'll remove 2.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was the same or higher because I was like, oh, some of their abilities run on health con stuff. So
No, you
Alright.
get 3 extra HP per level up as a, I believe, empowered person.
okay, so
So.
yeah, okay. I knew there was something. That's the thing.
So are you all gonna go head to the private rooms for the evening? You can.
I think I'm
You
gonna.
don't have to make this decision together.
I think I'm gonna go straight shopping probably, or start like window shopping. Start looking to see what they have.
Sure, you're kind of hitting the point where the stores are closing.
Oh.
So because also I want Maddie to be here for shopping.
I am going to, in that case, see what Kid's doing.
Kid wants having money. Is there a place that sells medical supplies?
Yep.
Okay.
It's closed.
Is it about to close?
Yes. Any shopping you would like to do is going to happen in the morning because
So me and Kid both go like to hit the shops, and we're both like,
Why do the shops close an hour earlier than I expected?
I thought this was a 24/7 kind of place.
But after that, kind of scene, I don't know if like they even really pay attention that Valis is following them. But Kid just kind of shrugs at the closed place and kind of makes a mental note to come back later, and doesn't go immediately to the private room. Is there like any type of like bench with like open kind of like
It's like a nice
like-
thoroughfare that has like
yeah
a couple of trees and some benches in there and stuff with the higher end shops on either side. There's also nightlife and stuff to do. You could go to a club, you could go to a bar, you could go see a movie.
Kid is going to go to a bar.
You go to a hologram deck, you go to a bar. It's fine. The music's not really your taste, it's slightly too poppy.
That's like it's gonna have like their music playing like for themselves to where or whatever is like in.
I adore Kid. Oh my god.
It's the guy at the club with the headphones on.
There's so much
Now it's a
cool
bar.
everyone.
To be fair, it's a bar. It's an acceptable like thing. All right, Kid's doing that. Valis, have you just followed Kid to a bar?
If they're going to a bar, I will instead go and try to find Nyx.
Nix, what are you doing between now and tomorrow when you can shop at your leisure?
I think Nyx has. So what kind of amenities? Like we know there are bars. Like this is like a full station essentially of a ship, right? There's
Yeah, there's a lot
everything
of stuff, but there's probably only like one or two places maximum of each type of thing. There's maybe 2 bars and 1 club, as opposed to many.
Okay. I think in that case, Nyx is looking for like whatever kind of community center exists, where they might have like access to kind of like the exploration stuff, like the things that would be almost like a public library, but specialized to this ship thing.
Sure, there's a public area in which you can search through the station library, which is all online.
Yeah. She goes to that zone, but she's not actually like trying to get on any of those terminals because she's more than capable of doing it from her smart slab. And she just finds like a quiet, not exactly isolated place, but she's just watching what's going on, watching the people. And just kind of reflexively, she's got her hand and she's like looking at the injuries, running her fingers where the nanites had like exploded from, and then like touching at her little like her collar, at her button, and then just like running through like a set of movements over and over again.
Eventually, Valis will find you just through his natural ability to sleuth
To
around.
find people.
What is Locust doing?
Locust, I think, has a strong desire to go back to their greenhouse on the ship. And once they get there, they have their other segment of.
Before that happens, when you step onto the ship, Teresa, you hear Teresa come and say, Conifer, the captain wanted to see you about something.
Oh, okay. Yes, I will go talk to the captain and we'll head to the engine rooms.
You head down. You have the same experience that everybody always has, where it's suddenly dark, and you're like, "Yep, that's normal." And then you're in this room with Umoak, and he kind of waits for you to approach, like he's expecting you to get dangerously close to the orb. As is your want normally.
Conifer will sit crisscross at like the threshold of the space.
Okay. He says, "Hello, Gardener. 3FL Conifer.
Today it is Locust. I think you can understand locusts in one of two ways. They are a type of tree. The thorny honey locust is very easily able to adapt to different settings when it is transplanted there. They grow like crazy. And I thought that was the name I was taking because I'm adapting to space, and I thought I was doing it quite well, but I don't think that's true anymore. The other type of locust is a pest that is destructive. So that is who I am today, is thorny honey locust, I think.
Thorny honey locust. And if it had a face, it would be a face of like nodding. Okay, I've navigated that. It says, one of your children came. It also tried to touch the orb.
Children. I
Yes.
don't have children. I don't think I can.
Oh, it's like thinking, like trying to pass what it meant through like how to explain that to anything that isn't it. It says, something for which you care and you enable its growth.
My friend.
Okay. Yes. And it says, can I show you?
Yes, yes, please.
Your awkward friend seemed upset when I affected its mind without permission.
I appreciate you asking. Yes. Yes, please.
You feel it like interact with your consciousness and then be like, oh yeah, this is not a humanoid. Like this is not the same thing. And then you feel it switch its tact and it puts into your brain like the vision that we got before of this little vine inching up and trying to touch the orb. But in this vision, we get the full scene as the orb, which was a little bit bigger than it is now, retracts away from it. And you see the almost as if picked up, the vine is picked up and dangled in front of the orb. And the Wirowak's voice in this recollection is like, my brethren, this power is too much for one as small as you. And it like sucks the blue energy out, and then it sucks the scaliness off, and then it sucks the purple out of it completely, and it leaves behind a black piece of vine, which it deposits. And then you hear it say, computer, can you get the remaining person on the ship to come and pick up this thing? And then we see the vision of Alejandri coming in to pick it up. And Wirowak says, I had it put into one of the cases in the greenhouse. It is different than before because it ate too much.
Yes, I will go see about that. I will go see if Fidget is okay. And Conifer, or not, Locust, without like saying goodbye to Wirowak in any capacity, will stand up and turn around, will straighten their straw hat on their head. So I imagine that's been a bit cock-askew for the past little bit, and we'll
It was on fire for a little bit. Before you leave, Wirowak says, if you have any questions, I occasionally find myself with answers to questions. And now that I am awake, I would not dislike the company.
Yes, I will come visit. I must tell you that you frightened me. But I'm happy to keep you company.
It shrugs all of its tentacles and is like, one cannot help what one appears to be.
Yes, I understand.
And then it kind of swims back into the miasma, like so as to not be just watching you awkwardly. You have to navigate leaving the situation. But you do head up to your greenhouse, and wrapped up is the exact same length as it was when you deposited it, but it's now jet black. And you can immediately tell that it's not siphoning energy of anything.
Oh, little one, what has happened to you? I pick the vine up. Is it still like moving in any capacity?
It's identical in the way that it coils towards the energy sources, but it isn't picking up that energy from you.
Locust will continue to like roll fidget amongst their fingers. I'm very sorry I put you into that situation. I didn't know that's how this would happen. I will do better next time. And then I think Locust is struggling with this feeling of, if I could have gotten to Nyx more quickly, then maybe we could have resolved the fungus situation before Kid had to like explode everything and make us go deaf, and we could have like had that communication line open. Do you think there's a way that I could start playing around with developing a stem pack for something like that?
Yeah, definitely. You want a stim pack that just kind of increases a target speed along with the +1 heal.
Yeah. So mechanically, what I'm talking is increase of movement per round.
Sure, yeah. Something that's just a simple increase of movement, you can start developing it. It will not be one that requires a major side effect because it's relatively minor. Make me a xenophysiology roll first.
Cool beans.
There's no risk. Because there's no risk yet. There might be later. Depends on what you're trying to do to Valis later.
Think it'll be fine.
Yeah, you like think about it for a little bit. You're like, well, what type of matter would work well for this? Think about it some more, and you get together like what will be the first prototype. It will probably take you about a week to get the first prototype going, but then it will be one that increases the target speed by, we'll say 15 feet for
Cool.
a minute.
That's great.
Yeah, and then once it's in prototyping, you just have to use it. You can just have somebody stand in there and shoot them a bunch, but it's much more dangerous to do it that way. Yeah, so you managed to get that all sorted. We'll do a xenobotany roll next session to kind of work out like what quantities you're going to start with of stuff. You notice that, do you keep fidget on your hand?
Yes.
You just like go about it your business as you were before.
Yes.
You notice that it is looking for something to feed on, and it's not feeding on the energy that's coming from you that is like generated by you that keeps your body running, but you notice it kind of curl more contentedly the more you focus your thought processing on stuff. So
could you repeat the last word that you just said?
The more that you focus your thought processing on things, the more that it seems to be content, almost like it has shifted from needing a physical nourishment to nourishing itself off the mental.
Okay. Noticing, or do you have anything else that you wanted to say about that, or can I?
No, go now.
Ask probing questions. We've done a lot of like this telepathic communication, or seen it from these other characters. Is there? I might be about to say something that doesn't make any sense. If Locust like allowed their mind to like open up to the vine, would they be able to like form like a deeper connection with it like that?
You can but try.
Y-
Make me a willpower save.
When I first
Cool.
start, did Locust start singing Vine to Vine?
Alas, alack, that's not the name of this session.
This vine thing wasn't going to happen, but I think a different kind of life
Yeah, makes sense.
gets the extra meaning for that.
Yeah, accidentally.
Triple entendre.
Die bangs angry across the table. Yeah, you open up your mind as much as you, as a process-driven AI, can do, and you feel, as you try and like project almost the way that we're actually the most recent feeling of it, where we're actually just like, hey, I'm projecting something into you, your brain. You try and do that. You try to open yourself up to projection in the other way, but it just feels so deeply unnatural to the way that kind of exists to do that. You don't know if the failure to connect in that way is because you're doing it wrong, because it will never work, or because it won't work because you're an AI. There are like a lot of different reasons that this doesn't work, but it doesn't as you reach out. That you can feel the connection of the vine still on you, and as you're thinking about it and trying to make it work, you feel it be contented because you're trying to do something more advanced mentally, but you don't get any other connection.
Okay, I think that Locust will be spending the rest of their night in the greenhouse trying to effectively distract themselves from the fight that they had in the engine room today. And that's where I'm willing to like take a step back from
Sure.
there.
And I think that's the last thing that we see. The kind of lights internally in the hangar like dim as night falls in this cycle of this ship. We see Kid sitting at a bar with this really obnoxious like poppy music. It's like the equivalent of bad Ariana Grande music playing in the bar, but we're hearing Kid's like really solid, just like Foo Fighter style rock. Where it's just like, oh, it's just solid rock. And Kid is like recovering, maybe thinking about the day. We find Nyx kind of stuck, anxiously trying to go through habits that will get Nyx back to their brain. Valis, I think, is sitting maybe nearby, and like it's like a big library space with open tables. I think Valis, you're probably sitting nearby. It's evident immediately to you that Nyx is not like in a place to take on conversation. I think Amalia's potentially got a similar thing where when she's very focused or when she's very like stressed about something, she'll be like so in her head that like you could be doing whatever and she's never going to notice. But there's just a bit where you're there, so you can like you're maybe looking at something on the library internet and stuff. What would you like to look up? You've got this free time in a library space. Do you want to look something up to gain maybe advantage on a role or some knowledge about something?
I'll read up about I guess I will read up for future purposes about like the nearby systems. But once I get bored with that, I'm kind of just sitting there thinking and waiting.
Yeah, we just have this slow pan from Nyx, who's going through something, to Valis, who's like absently reading about a moon like colony that's in 564. That's like apparently there was a war there a long time ago, and it was a civil war, and that's where like a pirate king lives now. It's like that's a thing for later. And then we finally end with Locust sitting, kind of studying something in the greenhouse, trying to work out what matter to put into this new stim pack, as the purple vine half and the black vine half kind of both now coalesce around either wrist a little bit. And that's where we fade out. Yes. And that's it for today's episode. I was going to put a Lucira moment in at the end. I'm like, no, that's fine. So we will be back same time next week, same channel next week. I hope that everybody enjoyed it. Thank you to anybody that watched. If you did, follow us, subscribe. The things that you have heard in every Twitch or YouTube video forever.
Do the things.
And we will, do the things. We'll be back for Imris at its normal time, which is very exciting. We get to do some downtime there. And then we'll be back for what could be an hour, like an entire session of shopping, knowing these 5. Like, shopping and talking, where I step away for 3 hours.
That will be the episode title, Shopping and Talk.
Then Chris and I have a
shop.
great shopping sessions now, so.
All right, see ya.